Hello, everyone. Back again. Welcome back to another reader review. Um, this time, everyone. um, was unexpected. Hey, Roger. Okay, so I have a there. Not a. Okay, and now we wait for the guest to arrive. Who that may be, who knows? There'll be a long silence because of it. Oh, hello, Glenn. Um,
Hello there, Brandon.
Hey, so everyone, this is the Caveman 701, also known as the creator of the Untold Story Timothy and Clinchfield Curse projects and whatnot. He wants to clear the air on his situation, so take it away, Glenn.
Just before I do, you did miss out on one other film that I did, and that was the Horror on the Kirk Roman. That was an in-between sequel there.
Yes, I realize that. Thanks for pointing that out. I almost forgot about
That
that.
that's all right. Sometimes we do tend to forget one teeny bit. I've been there and back, and I tend to forget that little bit. And so you're not alone there, kid. It's, by the way, for those of you apparently who do not know, this is only the second time I've done a live stream, or maybe the third. I'm not too sure, but who knows? Maybe my member will come back to me at some point. Depends really. And if anybody else wants to come up and join in with this, or if anybody else who wants to be a part of this, come up and and we can talk around this in the best civil way as possible, because, well, I don't want to like cheer chat and bore you all guys to death, because I can be a bit that way, but how the heck can I say it anyway? But I don't want to put you to sleep anyway, Brandon, because if I do, you might end up falling over and might not, whatever. But either ways,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm in a bit of a very good mood because let's just say I've had a new look, I've got a new haircut and a new mustache and style, and of course, before I get to that, I'm extremely happy what's happening in my life, because basically, before I get into what happened, say this: people say I haven't changed, or I'm not capable of changing. Well, newsflash for you, ladies and gentlemen, this is where I am now, and despite the fact I may not talk too much sense, but just try and bear with what I'm gonna get out of my mouth and try and get across to you guys, because ever since for the last 2 years and 9 months, I think now, my life has just been undergoing a terrible downside. I mean, it's natural in life we somehow end up hitting a brick wall, and then we end up getting lost, and we end up plummeting down into our darkest times in life, you know. And then we try so desperately in this day and age, we desperately try and fight hard, and we don't want to show any problems, and we're like, oh, we're fine and dandy. But there comes a time where you just have to let it out, and it eventually catches up to you in the end, and then people end up seeing what you are, but on the inside, you're not that person that you know, who's nasty and horrible and, you know, very, very rude and disrespectful. Now this is where it all comes into play now. For 2 years, since 2017, my life has basically, actually I've been saying this a lot of times, but here's the whole thing. Ever since that time, my life was plummeting down into a hellhole of much darker, well, not Batman dark, but you get my drift, don't you, Brandon?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
It went downhill.
that's the word I was looking for. Yeah. Basically, ended up doing what Timothy had done. He became depressed, he lost his confidence, and I felt that way too. And I ended up becoming very jealous. I am absolutely admitting to what I'm saying here. Doesn't mean I'm not going to be bad with this, because
Okay.
I'll feel a lot better when this is done with, and I'm hoping everyone out there can understand and finally get their heads around, especially for those on DeviantArt and especially on you know, hearing that stuff, especially on Skype, since a lot of my guys out there were gone too. Hopefully this can all be cleared up afterwards, but it all just went downhill, and I eventually just kind of had to go down this dark path, because if you remember, in early 2017, I was in my final confrontations with a certain troublemaker. I'm thinking, you know, that guy, well, that guy who I will only mention once, and screw that. If you remember Aidan Bentley, he came that close to ruin my reputation, right? Because he kept on peeing the hell out of me. And I'm glad he's no longer here anymore. But if he comes up and sees this, oh, yeah, he's going to regret that. But the fact of the matter is, mate, if he hadn't done what he had done, so the dark side of who I was, of my, you know, persona-wise, wouldn't have started to emerge. Because here's one thing: if you remember David Lambert, aka Punk Mountain on DeviantArt, he brought up a good point, because I saw in one of his comments, if you remember, about the facts about who I was in the Clinchfield Curse film and what I'd done behind the scenes after, which some is true, but some of it is overkill in a way with how it was said. But he did make a good point. You know, ever since the whole incident with me and Aidan Bentley, that's where the change in me kind of started to come, and I didn't see that because I was blinded by that. But had I listened to him, which I should have done, maybe that wouldn't have been the case. But either ways, it's just that's what happened, you know. And since then, when he was taken off, I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. But what I didn't realize is that the darker side of me, or what was happening, was starting to show teeny bits, but no one noticed it. And then after that, I would go off in tantrum-wise or be upset, because 2017 was mostly a broken year, except for the summer season of that year, because that was a brilliant, you know, because every year comes, I always have a great summer, but spring and autumn and winter, not so much. And then eventually I started changing her off, and when I did Horror on the Kurt Roman, which was a success, we finally went on to do the Clinchfield thing, you know, the Ghost Train 2, which is what everybody's still talking about, with good critics and good, you know, with great responses from the audiences who waited for this. Not once have I seen any bad comments or critics. Some are mixed about it, but most keep on praising the storytelling and emotional storytelling. That's a dark, sad, gloomy story. But that was what the whole goal was, to make the audience feel for the characters. And I'm not gonna, and I will admit, even I too cried at my own creation, and, you know, due to my sensitivity, especially with the scene with Ariel and Edward, which was the main reason, which was an example of why. But the film itself, when you look at it, it is amazing. It does differ a little from my fanfic version, because the film is in more depth, but there were a few changes that had to be done, because in film-wise, we couldn't get all to match. plus me and my buddy Chuck had to do a few changes. And even though I should have, like, spoken to Sean Ortez more about it because it was his idea for the film variation, but the fact was I was doing the editing. I was doing all the harder bits that they couldn't do, right? I had all the effects needed. Music was there. So I had to do all the hard work to make this come to fruition. Now, guys, and to all my fans and friends out there, just bear with me on this because I am being truthful, but I don't want to, like, I'm not trying to sugarcoat here. I am trying to get through it, because I'm just trying to remember thinking here. But anyways, as we progressed on, I started to change a few things that didn't quite match. But unfortunately, like I did in the last two films, they didn't have to be completely the same. As in the case in Hollywood, sometimes they could change a few bits here and there, and otherwise, because there are just some things that wouldn't be able to to happen. I could have stuck. This is where the controversial in the movie started coming in, especially with Flying Scotsman in the movie, who I voiced, by the way. Well, the reason why it sounded a bit more like, when Shine was like a bit upset and angered about me, the fact that I was using his version of the 311 film and not my own. What he didn't realize is that he was filming for my version because my script differed slightly, despite we both had the same titles. What Shine didn't know is that he may have forgotten doing his own version of the 311 film, whereas he and Dave and Ariel and Michael and Caitlin and everybody else said that I stole Shine Ortez's thing. That is not true. I never stole anything. If you think about it, he filmed. Well, actually, no. Me and Chuck had to film our own version of Flying Scotsman in America, while the storytelling of his encounter with 311 was based on what Shine Ortez's version was, but mine was a little bit in depth and a bit longer, and it was a bit different in scene-wise slightly. And yeah, it was, that sort of thing. And you can hear me in the dialogue I was bringing out was, that was all done by me, and the filming had to match what I was saying. And I'm not too sure what Sean Ortez's version would have been anyway, since I never saw it. And but my guess, it would have been a lot shorter. And of course, then after that, we do another scene where Flying Scotsman has a second encounter with 311 before he was rescued by Sir William McAlpine. Again, claims I stole that from this. No. What Shine did at the time was filming for me. That was, again, it was his idea. I'm sure it was his idea. Then he sent it over to me, and I put it all in together. And as you can see in part 5, that's what it all was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, it all played out so well. And then eventually, from part 1 all the way up to part 5 or 6 or somewhere around there, that's where it all was going to plan. The film was going exactly as it should be. But it was only up until we reached when Timothy shows up. That's where the controversial starts to show. Now, the first bit where he pops up halfway through is exactly as we said. And he was supposed to have a short role, yes. But the thing is, he's a background villain. He doesn't take the spotlight. He's just waiting and plotting for his next move, where he thinks 311's going to kill Thomas for him. 311 doesn't even know who the hell Timothy is because they never contacted except for in Thomas's nightmare. Because a lot of fans were thinking the two are going to work together. That's what I wanted them to believe. But it was never going to happen. That was not the intention. And they kept on bringing it up and up. And I was like, the only way you're going to see that is in his nightmare. And there you saw it. The moment everyone thought was going to happen, happened there. And that was it. There was no connection. There was no teaming up. And then after that, we progressed onwards. And again, Timothy appears again at the very end when he finds out that 311's crossed over from the bridge to the other side, moving on. Well, the reason why I put that in, I didn't shoehorn, as Shine said, I didn't shoehorn Timothy in at the last moment. That was how I wanted mine to be. Whereas, because a lot of the audience out there were asking, he's not going to like this, he'll find out. So I thought I'll put that in, and then because I hadn't voiced Timothy for ages, and I always enjoyed doing it, and then I had to put that in, and there it was. But yeah, the one thing I do admit a lot, I did misuse a lot of the OCs. Well, except for Louise and Jason, who I voiced, and you got Luke there, and you had Ariel. But the only thing I thought at the time was when David Lambert, aka Punk Mountain's OC, used the real 1218. That's where the controversial came in, and he was mad at me, and for some reason he just kicked me out, and I didn't know that happened. And I may have not been aware that he was telling me not, use him for certain things, but how was I supposed to know that he wanted me to use him for special occasions? He didn't want him to haul passenger trains and only freight trains, like as if the real locomotive was in its prime. Like back in its prime where he hauled heavy coal hoppers during the Norfolk and Western era. At the time, I thought he would be fine in saying, because my version, I was trying to make 1218 as in preservation time when it was hauling passengers and making slight freight runs. I mean, what's the big deal with that? Because had I been aware of that, I wouldn't have done so. But after Shine and Ariel and Liam told me that, that's why David was so angry at me about it, I was like, oh, my French lads.
Okay.
Sorry, didn't sleep well there. But me and Chuck had to do some reshooting, and I thought if I do this will make things better. So in one shot you see him hauling tankers with James in the harbour, and then in the final shot you see him hauling some British hoppers, and then you see him hauling another freight train afterwards. So I was trying to keep it at bay as that, so that'll be fine. And then you see the flashback again with Louise and David seeing the Demon 311, which everybody was asking, how did they see that? Well, the reason why I put that in is because we had done the whole thing with 311 moving on, but we hadn't come full circle with how they first saw the ghost train or the demon engine itself. So I felt like there were some final pieces of the puzzle missing in my version that I had to put in, because it was up to that point I had missed some scenes out there that I completely had forgotten, and I had to put those in order to make mine make sense, because it would have been obvious if Shine Ortez had done his version, it would have been very clear that his would have been a lot shorter than my own. Because I know for a fact his films would have been shorter, but and there was a lot of talk about this and certain stuff. I'm trying to remember some other parts. If they tell you their side of the cases, it's obviously it's going to be very controversial, and you won't be able to pick whose side. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, I did misuse David's OC, but I didn't mean to. At the time, I had such tunnel vision. I was so focused in getting this done that I was completely unaware of what wrongdoings I had done. And and I've said it many times. I have learned the lessons of not, to not do that ever again. I never will do. I'll ask if anybody had an OC, if I ever am likely to return to doing these ever again. I would ask, what certain scenes do you want in there? Will this be all right? Etc., etc. And then up to the point, when the film was done afterwards, I tried to get David to talk to me. We could sort this out. Let bygones be bygones. But he wouldn't answer me, and he just kicked me off. And when I don't get answers, I am prone to losing my temper, because most of the times I'm never told what's happened. And because what I said on Hangouts was wrong afterwards, when I was in a fit of rage, when, at the time my demons had come out of me at that point, where I finally had revealed a darker side. Because we all have our demons in life, and I'm no different. You're no different, Brandon. And nobody else on the community is like that too either. But it happens in life. That's a fact of us being human. But I was just so angry, and forgive me, that's what I'm about to say next. But if you can see the look right now, this is a look of remorse, guilt, and shame. What I'm about to say, but I do admit in those threats I made to David, right, about when I swore and threat to to end up doing the wrong thing.
Okay.
You know, and at the time I thought I was, getting my anger out to relieve the tension, but eventually what I said was very offensive and very, very terrible, that I too became horrified of my actions. It caught me on, and I felt very hurt and ashamed, about making so-called death threats, which I'd done before with, and I felt so ashamed and hurt, and I won't easily be forgiven for that. But that was back then. Hang on a second, lads. Be right back there, ladies and gentlemen. Continue on here. I'll be right back with you.
All right. Okay, so a lot of information to digest from Glenn. Yeah, so yeah. I've also so, I mean, now the thing is that Shine's version, actually, I'll say that for another stream, because who could that be? Nothing. Anyway, anyways, so what I was going to say. I can definitely ask Roger about that for Charleston, but once the air is cleared, then I can definitely ask. But I can tell you this: Shine's version is, well, from what Shine and the others told me, is that there were supposed to be some differences, and the film was supposed to be a little bit shorter. So that is, so what can you do? Quick to the elevator. I'm just kidding. I'm doing a Toy Story reference there. Anyways, there he is. We'll see about that. Oh, hold on. Okay, so that. So yeah, like I said, a lot of information to digest. But like I said, oh, he's retired.
Okay. Oh, that was good timing there, Brandon.
Yes.
I thought you were talking to the audience while I was just coming back, because
oh, I was talking to the audience while you were dealing with your thing there.
Okay, my buddy Nick Bogus just replied back, oh, he won't be on. Yeah, but if anybody else wants to join in, they're more than welcome to. But still. But anyways, about what I said earlier, I really did feel very bad about what happened, I mean, I've spoken about this a lot of times. I even spoke with my counselor, who did a great job, who turned out to be another autism individual, who helped me out, which is why I'm not quite the same as I was 2 years previously, or even as of late. But I caught myself on with what I was doing, and I do regret very badly, with a heavy heart, that what I did was wrong, and I swear I'll never do it ever again. But it's obvious that no one will ever be friends with me again, because a lot of people have cut ties with me, from Ariel, who I think was the one who mostly did the damaging to me afterwards. And I respect the fact that she doesn't, like me anymore. But the fact of the matter is, I've known her for ages, for close to about roughly a few years. Or I don't know how when we first met. So, but she thinks back a lot ever since we did the Titanic stuff, and she kept on bringing up past stuff that I used to do, which I no longer do. Which she kept on reminding me constantly, and that to me is dwelling on the past and not moving on. Have I ever spoken about that since? Yeah, ever since what happened in 2011 and 12 onwards? No, of course not. I let that go. I rewrote my entire fanfic on Titanic, as you can see on now. It's more better, more well written. It's not like a freaking, cartoon crossover series like I used to do with my good buddy T.S. Castro back in the day. If anybody doesn't know who T.S. Castro is, he used to voice Henry in my previous films before another good buddy of mine took over that role for him. But we used to do the fanfic together on Titanic back in the days when crossovers that you saw on YouTube and other things was the thing, which is no longer there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And fact of the matter is, it's just that, and that's what Ariel kept bringing up, and about the whole the whole thing that happened afterwards, and to the point where on Skype it just got totally out of control, and then I was kicked off, and then eventually it just cascaded down there, and it's just uncalled for. It was just wrong. Oh, speaking of which, looks like we're going to be joined by another individual.
Oh, who would that be?
It's Nick Boga.
Nick, yes, I know him. He and I are good friends.
Yeah, he wants to join with us. Apparently, he wants to join in the party. Bring him on board, man. Bring him in. He's from DeviantArt. For those who don't know him, he's from DeviantArt as well. He also that's where I knew him, and then here he is on the call with us. So let's just drop him in. Okay.
All right.
Where is it? Where?
Yeah, he has been in my live streams before.
Well, he wants to join in this one now. I asked him if he does, and he said sure.
Of course, yes, absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, where is he now? Okay, do you have to add him, or do I have to do it?
Actually, here, I can. I think I'll send him the invite link. Copy.
But any cases, while you're doing that, like I said, it was just uncalled for, and to the point where it's not like I didn't want to listen, but it was just like that was back then. This is now. In 2019, we're in the present. We're not like back in the past back then, like nearly a decade ago. Let the past be the past. Let bygones be bygones. Despite what I said to David Lambert, it will take a long time until I can be forgiven for that. Well, actually, Ariel said I can be forgiven, but never be forgotten. Even Chuck says to me, it's like, come on, Glenn. It's not like they're all not going to forget about you. So that made me wonder, maybe down the road in a few years or so, maybe, water under the bridge might happen. But it's obvious that the man that I am, despite can be very controversial, and I am a very difficult person to speak with. Like I said, I'll admit to that. It's just, I can't help it when there are excuses to be made. But unfortunately, the way how my life is outside the internet plays a key role to how I react here on the internet when I say some things that may offend others, even if I don't mean to. I'm not like a nasty, cruel person that was said to me, on DeviantArt, which you guys may have seen, which are very, very unpleasant. Some are very, very, inappropriate stuff, It's just the fact is, I may not have created other people correctly, but at the time, what could I do? I was under such strict pressure from both, the community, as well as my friend, or as the team I was with, and everything, It's always me who's claimed to be the bad guy. and it just really was frustrating. To the point where I'm frustrated. I mean, people can get mad. I mean, we can argue. That's what friends do. But to constantly blame me for all the wrongdoings that you guys may have known about, I think it's a little bit too hard and a bit harsh. Yeah, but that doesn't mean I wasn't a nasty, cold, cruel person. Why can't anybody get through their thick heads? Or if they're, no pun intended, if they're not reading correctly, or if they're blind, apparently, and not reading the right words, then Jesus Christ, then you guys, it's like, it's not me who hasn't changed. It's like you guys on there have changed. Not saying you, Brandon, but it's just like, this is like the dark side of social media.
I understand where you're coming from. Like, I wasn't there when this happened, but I heard everything.
It's a good job you weren't there when it happened, because you probably would have been like, what the hell? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
very like. Yeah, but you were saying?
Yeah, look, I feel Nick's here.
Let's go racing.
Hey, you want to join?
Hi, Nick.
Hey, give me a second. Waiting on my camera.
Okay.
Apparently, Nick, this is the first time we've streamed. Apparently, Nick on here, but this is my third or second time I've done this. Apparently, I think it was somebody else who joined. But it's the first time I've done it with Brandon.
Yeah, this would be the first one with me. So
I've always wanted to, despite you used to do you've done brilliant reviews on my film, especially that one with 311, which I want to ask you about that later on. But that was probably the best and funniest one I've ever seen you do. I don't know how you did that, but we'll get to that later on.
Oh, trust me. If you haven't seen any of the streams going, you should see some of the streams that's happened with Andrew and the rest of us. Holy guacamole.
I've heard, but I wasn't there at the time, because
dude,
if you think about it, the time differences, I had there were either fault connections with the internet, or if I was in bed. If you remember, there's an 8-hour difference over there between us Brits and the US.
Yeah, I know. Brandon, I haven't heard from you in a while.
Oh, yes, Nick, yes. Yeah, basically, Glenn wanted to clear the air on his side of the story with the whole Ghost Trains films that he was making. So he got that off his chest, and now we're just chatting away. So,
yeah.
Well, technically,
I've been kind of holding back on doing my stuff till further notice right now, because I have another huge project sitting right now, but I don't know if it's going to make it to the public or not.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks to somebody hunting around and finding all the missing files for me, it's been kind of a blessing. I've actually been finding pieces of the original Railway Series iOS route.
Okay.
The original parts.
Sweet.
Where Tidmouth is the terminus, not Knapford.
Oh, yes.
And it's a pain in the ass to find all the pieces.
Indeed.
Oh, yes, it is.
By the way, is that one pain in the neck still bugging you, Brandon? Still harassing your ass?
Oh,
you know who
her?
I'm talking about? I'm not naming her, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yes. Do not worry.
She's still on your ass, huh? She's been trying to get to me for a while, and she's still trying.
Do not worry. Do not worry. She has been blocked, and she's been dealt with. So.
All right.
Don't worry, I was there when you streamed, when you spoke to Fletcher about the whole, what's her name? Don't get me wrong, I've got her on Facebook, Discord, YouTube, well, I'm not sure about YouTube or DeviantArt.
YouTube, she has still accounts, so.
But yeah, she talked to me a lot on Facebook, and she was actually going PO'd with what was happening. But being the smart man that I am, it's a good job I talked her down, because, she has no beef with me or anything, but I can definitely tell she's in a bad state. But at least I'm able to get through to her. She's just, don't get me wrong. I'm not on anybody's side with this. It's just that it feels ridiculous. But the fact of the matter is, to think that she's been dubbed as a stalker.
Yeah, let's see. Going through my buddy's channels on Discord, trying to lure me out. And
that's what people said about me. Now, this is another thing. You remember Plum Mountain, aka David Lambert? That's his full name, by the way, if you find him on Skype or anywhere else. Well, he told me that he said, because when I was PO'd about him after I made all the threats to him, he told me, stop talking to me, stop commenting to me, Glenn. You're scaring us. You're acting like a stalker. you're absolutely intimidating us. And I'm like, how the hell am I stalking? That is not, I've never stooped
I
that
get the
low.
point. But anyway, on a
There's a different-
happier note, so what's on the burner for projects for us three? Anything?
Well, I do have an episode coming up this coming Saturday.
Oh,
Oh,
something new, Brandon.
not bad.
Mm-hmm.
About time you release something new. Your old stuff is getting kind of stale.
I was just going to say what improvements you've made anyway.
Yes, I have been told about the island of Sodor having missing texture files and all that. So I mean, it's
Yeah, because I had to fill you in on it multiple times.
Yeah, I could see all the white lines as well. That meant you had some missing
The
parts,
grid
but
lines
that's
on the
natural.
root is very, very nasty when you can see that whole thing.
well, it's not as bad as the first year I used Strange, which had no textures.
I know, but you're still missing a ton of textures.
I know. I'm still missing some, but at least I have grass and trees.
Dude, I've gotten everything on that route up and functioning again. Thank God.
That's good.
So my iOS is fixed. Thank God.
Well, it's kind of cool in one perspective. Speaking of which, I don't know how, but when I looked back, and I do realize, I do look back a bit. I'm not saying I'm not dwelling, but when I look back on the 311 film, it was still the best I ever did. But I wish it didn't take 2 years to do. But because I had personal things in life, and and I was making excuses. But at the time, family issues were happening. I was getting older. I was actually job searching at the time, and not to mention I was losing my grandfather, who aka rest in peace.
All kinds of stuff that happens, so no worries.
Yeah, and everybody never believed me. Well, some did afterwards, but it just pains me when I look back on it now when I watch it, because of all the guys who were there were my best friends who have cut ties with me, and it, maybe I should have listened in some parts, yes, but the fact is, most of us on there had the same condition as I have, being autistic. Now that's where Ariel and Shine say, Glenn, you use your autistic as an excuse. No, Shine's got autism, yes, but he doesn't use his as an excuse. He's white. That's very wise not to. But the fact is, the more I try and be more mature and more, hard-headed thinking like you guys, it feels like I'm becoming more immature and more of a-hole in a way. But pardon my French there, ladies and gentlemen. But that's what happens sometimes. You think you know what you're doing, but it ends up blowing in your face. And that's the case scenario that I've always had to deal with in my life. But the thing is as well is that, it's just so unfair and called for, because Liam, aka Caledonian Black Twin himself, he's cut ties with me of all people, for crying out loud. He's in a relationship with Caitlin of all people, which I'm glad he's in, which I predicted. But
yes, Caitlin told me.
And those two, now this ain't shenanigans here. This ain't BS news. I'm being serious, straight up here. Because I spoke to them both about this. I was telling Liam, do what you gotta do was right, because I was dead concerned what was going to happen, because I went through the whole relationship with my ex-girlfriend Jordan Galloway, and we ended ours after 8 long years, and I was broken for 6 months. It took me 7 months actually throughout 2017 to get through this, but it's behind me now because we're still talking as friends, But Jordan Galloway and I are still good friends. We're like, very, very close. But with Liam and Caitlin, I was concerned about how it was going to go, because Caitlin's, a former, had very bad problems, and this and that, which I'm very sorry for. I have sympathy for that. And Liam's like, I'm not sure how he is, but Caitlin said that he has something called harmony, or whether it's dubbed as, or humanity, or whatever the hell it was, and that's what she said that I didn't have. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I never had it the whole time. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know if I did or not. But I did show some concern, and I wished them the best. But it's just that I don't want anything wrong to happen, because what I went through and suffered, I don't want that to happen to Caledonian Black Twin, because it's very if it should the worst happen, because I'm just trying to look out as a good buddy, and if there's anything that needs telling, they can always come to me for guidance or anything. So the same way as I did to them,
Yeah,
And it's just so frustrating to think that my words weren't listened correctly. And the fact is, it's not that I'm not a bad person or anything. I care. I really give a damn for both of them. It's just that, if you guys remember Michael 3985, he and I don't want to go into depth, but I might be hated for this, but that he lost his relationship after it didn't go well, and they parted ways afterwards, and he was gutted after the end of the whole scenario. And it's a good job I was there to comfort him when he did, and we had forgiven each other. We had I'd even misused his OC character, but I remember telling him that he wanted his character as a background character in the 311 film, not a talkative character, but he's mentioned.
Yeah, like
which
a
is what you
character kind of.
Yeah, his name is mentioned in as well, and you see him 4 times in 2 different forms, mind you, because he's like the real 3985. But and of course, I showed him the screen caps of his cameos in there, and he approved, which I do remember him saying. Whereas Shine says and David say that he didn't like that. So I'm thinking to myself, it's controversial here and there, but just think about it. I was one of the directors, so I co-directed, so I had half control of what would have been involved with. But we'd been on it for so long that that the other guys had forgotten their roles in there. It's just that I did all the editing and they didn't. I can go on for hours about this, but it just sickens me to think like, okay, I learned my mistakes, move on. I won't do that ever again. And believe me, I will never ever misuse anybody's thing, because I told a lot of my friends about this. They understood the situation, and they weren't cross and mad about it. And they all said, Glenn, think about it. We all make mistakes in jobs. That's a part of life, and we can learn from it. And that's exactly what I've tried to get through, but no one listens. Because everyone thinks I just talk a load of random BS stuff.
Well, to put your point in simple terms, everyone does screw up once in a while. Whether they choose to learn from it is on their own accord. So that's the way I look at
it. I do regret putting Timothy in a bit. I may have shoehorned him slightly, but it wasn't like I didn't want him to take the spotlight or anything. I mean, if you go back to what Plum Mountain said in the comments, or listen to what Sean and Ariel say in their DA posts about me, it's absolutely gut-wrenching to think, and everything that what they've done to me, to think that I turned on them. Yes, I may have hurt a lot of people, but it wasn't like I didn't intentionally. I just can't help it. I have a lot of emotions. I'm a very passionate young man.
Well, why don't we get off the depressing subject, move on to something funny?
Well, it's not that. It's just that I'm trying to It's just that I have moved on from it now, but the fact is people don't see that I have. They don't see what's behind this computer screen, and this is the new me. And I'm like happy with it because, I listened to the review Brandon did for me, which was amazing. It cheered me up a bit. And then, I spoke with Chuck, and he's on good terms with me still. It's just that, the audience don't realize I may not be back on YouTube for quite a while doing uploading. Because if you might have noticed, for 4 months I've been in retirement mode because I have no team to work with, because I've been kicked out of there again. It's obvious I may not come back again, because they'll think, I'll just come back and screw everything all over again.
Nah.
And
here's what
bones.
Glenn, the problem is you have a bunch of ideas sitting in your noggin, but you have no team members to help you put them together.
Well, you have me and Nick if you want.
I have a couple ideas floating around still on my Google Drive, like that one I forwarded you earlier, Brandon. Which
I saw
Nick, Andrew, Shine, the one we all started on.
Well, the good news was afterwards, because what you guys have noticed, I have got my Chinese 12 with me. But the fact of the matter is, I actually had other ideas because I was going to move on from taking a break from the whole saga I was doing, because I actually had plans in mind of doing my own cross-combined series of American and British engines. But I thought, why not just do all the American stuff, because most of the routes I have on there are working, including the old Clinchfield route, which I had. And speaking of which, I actually have been downloading a couple of engines in, and I do not know how I don't know how this happened, but my last update on there, and I somehow have the Sodor lifting bridge working, from the old Knapford and Vickerstown road that didn't show up, and now all of a sudden it's right there.
Something
You know.
downloaded.
Either that or it
Strange.
self-updated itself. That is, yeah, I'm not joking. This has happened to me every time I either check or any routes I haven't done, and then this shows up out of nowhere, that shows out of nowhere, and I didn't even do a single thing. So something to me is not quite right,
Something's just
unless
clicking in. That's all. Nothing wrong with that.
unless this is the 2012 Jinx update thing that does something when you don't notice it. I don't know, because
Well, Trainscroll has this weird effect to it, where every once in a while something isn't working. The next time you run the game, it will rerun all the numbers, and it will be like, wait a minute, this was a valid asset? Oh, I'm going to put it in. Click. That's pretty much what it does.
Mhm.
Yeah, like it's happened to me a few times.
Yeah, and you come looking at me like, dude, did you do something? No.
Yeah. It's true, but I'm glad denied is that as well. But if there's one more thing I do need to clear out, like just one more thing, and just bear with me here, Nick. Or for some reason I'm just going to call you Nick Jr., but no, that's the other Nick. Yeah, I know, because I wouldn't know which version I'm talking to, but at least I know which one I'm talking to, since the real u's up there and the other one hasn't shown himself yet. But anyways, one of the things I wanted to clear off is that if the fans on DA, see this as well and see, that I'm not a very nasty, horrible person. Yeah, I can be a bit controversial, but that's just something I can't help with. But this is a new me, new improved, a well-known spoken individual, and I don't think all those things that you would think I would, because that was when I was a lot younger. I'm more older. I'm nearly below 30.
You're more mature now.
Yeah, more
Wow.
older, but yeah, I'm 28. I'm close to my 30s now, almost. Yeah, I know. I don't look the part either. Without my mustache and beard, I look like a freaking 18-year-old. But either way, I know. That's why I always prefer having a tush and beard. It makes me sound like my actual age. Yeah.
Anyway, there is projects on the back burner we could do, which have been dropped. We just haven't had a chance to get around to them. And the script I gave you, Glenn, for one of them, I say we redo the script. And Brandon, you're technically part of the project.
Yes, that's very true.
So I figure it'd be time. I mean, heck, Glenn needs a team to work with. We have an unshot episode that which we had an invite for in the original series, just no one ever picked up on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I figure we take the lead, roll with it. I mean, heck, we'll just go from there. Just gotta go one piece at a time. That's all.
Of course.
There's one thing as well that I have to say is that, I won't be doing stuff because, my Mac was gone. My old AMAC store thing apparently got busted because the fry connections were fried, but the hard drive inside has survived, thank goodness. I just got to find another one to install it in after, and then hopefully I can return, because the one I'm using here doesn't have Windows Mega Player or anything like that, and I haven't even got Fraps installed or whatever, because I'm a very let's just say I'm not like everybody else who can just instantly use their stuff and go full bore, because I have lost my filming skills now. I haven't been doing any editing. That's why I've gone back to doing fanfic writing, which you may have noticed on my DeviantArt. I think you may have noticed it, Nick and Brandon. I've been doing what's called a Thomas Batman crossover as of late.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
Something different. But anyway, as far as
you should check it out, Brandon. Yeah, it's really, really good.
As far as other stuff goes right now, there is a lot of things still shrouded in the mystery, like why I haven't been posting. And that's because I haven't been feeling well the last couple of months.
And that's understandable. I mean, and of course, you've been busy with models and roots.
Well, it's not so much with the models and roots more. It's been because I've been getting a lot more migraines, and I've had an upset stomach a lot more lately.
Oh dear, yes. Your well-being is utmost important.
Yeah. So, and plus, right now at the timing, because of what's been going on, I don't really know what's been happening. But the last couple of weeks, something mysterious has happened. Basically, I don't know how to put it, but one of the biggest model makers in the community that we all know and love, which I'm part of the team, thankfully, has decided to go into sleep mode for the time being.
Oh, really? so he's gone to hibernation?
Pretty much, SI3D's gone into hibernation mode.
Okay.
No clue why, but it's happened. Nothing's getting posted on the site right now. The team's not communicating all the way. Like, yeah, I'm talking to one or two people, but the person I talk to the most who can help me out with the big projects I'm trying to work on, he ain't answering his Discord or his Gmail, so...
You may not believe this, lads, but somehow I've managed to do my first share screening, but check out this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well.
So you're
This is
inside...
This is actually the original Clinchfield route, the 2004, but I've done some clever editing, and what you guys don't know, and you ladies and gentlemen and fans out there who may not believe this, but this is actually a planning idea that I have installed. This is basically an inspiration I got from the San Juan series.
Okay.
And I actually did some removing, and I've been downloading my own fleet of engines. And what you're seeing here is actually a modern version of what's dubbed the CSW Railroad. You know, not related to my other projects. This is totally different.
Okay.
These are the engines I'm trying to use. That's the main character who I voice, who I'm thinking of voicing, and I've been downloading some other engines I needed, but I took these ideas to fit in because they're so cool. Another thing here is I'm glad you're here, Nick, because this engine here is actually the new model of the Pennsylvania Articulate engine that never was, built in real life.
Yeah,
and only you can see the tenders worked, but as you can see here, unfortunately,
the engine don't click in.
Yeah, and I'm going to show you why afterwards. But
it's probably a missing dep or something, or something's broken or whatever.
It's not missing; it is broken, to be honest. This is basically this is basically Campton, just like in the 311 film, but slightly different. I did some very clever. I don't know how I did this, but based on what Liam and what Chuck and Shine and even you, Nick, taught me how to do all these clever things, I became very, very experienced in quite a quick amount of time.
Yeah, well, it does take time and practice to get good at stuff. I mean, heck, think about it. The iOS wasn't built in a day.
Well, no, it took ages.
Yeah, and it's still, according to SI3D, it's still not finished.
Right.
But,
it's still not finished.
However, there is some truth behind that rumor. It did take a long time to get to Kelsthorpe Road, yes. However, there is actually a finished version of the iOS.
Really?
Yeah. The only thing is, you gotta know where to look for it.
Okay.
Funny thing is, if you go to the SI3D site, think you're gonna find it. You'll find it up to Kelsthorpe Road, but you won't find the Skarloey Railway, Normanby, Vickerstown, or Barrow and Furnace built into it.
Speaking of Crovan's Gate, Nick, this is what I was going to tell you because this is a surprise. I got this downloaded, and guess what happened?
What?
Another gate showed up, but guess what? I've been doing some clever editing, and I do not know how I was able to do it with a strong mind and with a lot of patience, but I actually managed to edit the route myself, and I've added the tracking myself as well.
Very nice.
I did it alone. I followed the routes. I got rid of the white lines afterwards.
Dude,
this is actually, I don't know how I did it.
I'm proud of you.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah,
this is
Brandon, at some point, I have to help you take care of getting the iOS fully set up. So,
yes,
before you start filming, you and I need to go through all those depths, and I'll just fork them to you 3 at a time, 5 or 4, whatever it's going to take to get that thing up.
Exactly. Yes.
And of course, there's Timothy. Apparently, I couldn't resist but put him on the turntable.
Oh yes, there's Innocent Timothy. Yeah,
who my buddy Liam was so good at voicing with. He would have been perfect had he not cut ties with me. But still, sorry, I shouldn't have shot there. But
that's all right. That's all right.
He made the worst choice apparently because I just love who his character was because he would have been perfect to do Don and Douglas, but. Thing is now this is the Crovan's Gate I'm going to be using for my series if I ever did. And as you can see, there's my version of Duke. That's what he will look like since his TVS one won't pop up. But look what I found here.
Yes, okay.
And there's Duncan and the other guys.
So the 06 models of those guys can use Wilder Wester's Duke. Okay.
you can see like it's a hybrid. If you were to see Stuart and Falcon, they probably would have been in their '06 route. But if I was to put them back on the mid-soda, or say if I did that story about the reopening of it, they would have gone back to their NWR looks as if they were rebuilt. Do you get my idea?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, same with Smudger, Bertram, Andreas, etc.
That's correct.
Well,
I still can't believe I actually managed to do this, but like I said, this is the only one I've been able to complete on my own. And but what's funny about it is that these tracks pops up all by themselves. Well, this was not there.
Really?
Yeah, every track, every route I have.
All right, here's a kick for you, Brandon. Everyone else had a problem of not. They could get the standard gauge rails to show up, but the Scarlowi line wouldn't show up. Glenn had the total opposite.
I know. It's that. I know. Yeah.
Okay.
That's strange. I mean, how was that possible?
Yeah.
In other words, mileage may vary.
Yeah.
The only one that doesn't show up is on the Little Western here, which is the Arsdale one. On this one here,
certain rails.
That's the only one that doesn't show up.
Well, the Arsdale rails are 18-inch. They're probably the Arsdale sleepers or just the 18-inch mine rails, whichever one's the case might be.
Yes. And see, look, here's your answer right here, Brandon. This is similar to what you've got because you had the lines exposed, but here's every route I've got from the Thomas routes to any American or British routes. These lines here keep popping up.
Yeah, that's your go-to track layout, basically.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it turns out the UK wooden bowl-lock thing doesn't always work. But I've got the other one, but the double track and the other one just doesn't seem to want to comply with me. So that's the reason why I've had to make this idea. Like, if I can't do it, then I'll just have to have it all by myself.
That's Duck's branch line. The funny thing is, I actually have that with all the track and everything to it.
That's what I mean. You must have a much more updated version to my own.
Well, mine's through Steam, so.
Oh, Jesus. If I had mine from Steam, I think this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, it's probably just a missing TDP file. Something stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Missing track.
There we go. I'm not going to lie. I do prefer this version to the TVS, even though it's much quicker and short. But I do love the coastal run. Yeah, the coastal run around here looks amazing. Better than the TVS one, except that...
not necessarily. Now, here's the thing. There was a rumor floating around that I managed to find and shed some light on.
Okay.
Soda Island 3D didn't add Duck's branch line for a reason. They were
planning to upgrade
on the whole route. They were planning to upgrade the Little Western to throw it in. But one teeny problem.
Okay.
And that was?
The person who was supposed to build the route supposedly went poof.
Like he went missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he didn't really give a damn and he decided to hell with it.
I'm going on vacation. I'll be back soon. Never came back.
Oh, God. It's like Sir Tom Haddon talks to the Magic Railroad.
Yeah, but Magic Railroad's not coming back.
As you can see here, lads, this is the only route here that doesn't pop up, see?
Yeah, and I'm guessing there's
no shed either.
Reasons I'm guessing what the tracks are. It's either Sleepers to Arsdale, the Arsdale sleeper track, or it's the other rail.
Well, as I've been trying to say, is that I've also been making my own engines, like you saw in the Clinchfield rails, where Jason's, the triplex locomotive.
Yes.
Well, he's a part of the Replica Association, and the funny thing is, I've been making my own. I made a small little rails, well, I was attempting to make it like, where does he come from? Because a lot of people were asking me with intrigueness of what his character was. So me and Chuck kind of did this together, and I thought this would be quite nice. And it's going to take a while because not all the engines from Canada were able to be given. So it's going to take a long while until I can get a hold of them. But anyways, my recent one I downloaded was this one, was the other Vicarstown, the one that we see, the one that everybody said that looked so massive and very big, the one I wasn't too sure of.
Oh, yeah, I know. I use that route sometimes, the Vicarstown to Barrow and Furnace by Simply Sudderin.
Well, I decided to do it anyway, and what was awesome, the station uploaded beautifully. Some of the surroundings were quite nice. I didn't know the Barrow and Furnace. Here we are. Here's Barrow and Furnace, and when I looked at this, I thought this was quite nice. So this was quite cool because I've never seen Barrow in this one before, as it is today. Again, there's a lot of things you need to fill in because most of the independency I have were MBs, and not all the MBs will go to full loading, which is why I have to delete them afterwards because they won't comply.
All right, here's one for you. One of the routes that's been hidden from the public. Okay, there was a route that was hidden on the download station from everybody. A lot of people didn't pay attention to it, and it was the Great Warrington route that was redone.
Oh, now, really?
Here's the funny thing. The Great Warrington route that was redone, originally done by Crovan's Gate Works, they did another version of it called Great Warrington Gordon Station, which is technically redone. Now, here's the thing. There was one thing that was missing from the route a lot of people kept missing out on.
And that was?
Well, people were oblivious to it, and they didn't pay attention to it. Apparently, the whole thing with Great Warrington was the main tower, the Waterworks Tower, no one could find it because it was a private asset made by Mainland Studios. However, after digging through the internet, surprisingly, Mainland thought he blocked all the links. He missed a link somewhere. I was going to an old site, and there happened to be a link to it hidden on Crovan's Gate Works to the old tower.
Indeed.
Now, the funny thing was, I got the fixed version of it, the fully fixed Waterworks building. I actually got the actual tower now, and Great Warrington's done.
All right.
Well, you can see here.
Yeah, because you can't get it anymore.
I see.
As you can see here, I haven't even got the bloody sheds where you guys have, and I still don't understand why mine won't pop up or anything in the turntable.
Something with the turntable, it looks like.
I mean, I have the sheds and the tracks on my version. So I mean, oh yes, there's the ditch. The last time we saw the ditch in my universe, Crowan fell into the ditch uncharacteristically.
The 3 lads are still sitting there. Yeah, but I wasn't too sure about this, but I was curious, so I downloaded and checked it out, and I thought it is quite nice. But I mean, me.
A little bit of work, you can fix up anything, you know that. But
yeah, well,
like I was saying, Nick, we do have a lot of projects we can all start working on that have been dropped or put on the back burner, and they just need some attention. So
yeah, a lot of them were expecting my Brute of Doom to come, which would have been very intriguing because I did give you a bit of a cliffhanger in there, which you may have seen a ghost who looked like Albert or the other engine that you saw in my 311 film, which was a bit of a tease to what I was going to do.
Yes.
We'll figure it out at the time, so.
That will come.
Well, at least you guys have seen what I've been up to. But like I said, what you saw there was one of the American series I was going to do, dubbed the CSW series, you know. So I thought, because, you know, a lot of people were very intrigued about my, you know, the Americans on Sodor. And I had this idea in my head for a separate idea of, you know, because I really was getting a bit bored of doing this. So I wanted to do something a little different. And after watching the San Juan series and
everything else,
some others, and I thought to myself, what if I do this? And then I thought, the CSW Railroad, there's 311, and what about some of the other engines? But then I thought, no, she can't be the main character in this one. Whereas in this one, it's not related to the Clinchfield curse. Yes, she fell off the bridge, but here's the twist. She actually survived, but was thought to be dead. And 1522, the original actor himself, you know, who was to be in my series, I think, he believes it too until he sees her. But and speaking of which, guys, I don't know how this happened. You know, the original Europe dud bloke from the DLS, apparently who's done many versions of the Melting Engine of 1522, the same model that 311 came from. Well, I don't know how, but somehow the older version of 1522, which is dressed in black and has a red roof cab on his head, and the rest is, you know, the one that you see in the San Juan series. Well, I don't know how that happened, but his tender worked from Europeton. But his forward body, I don't know how this one worked, but it did. And now I've got the older version of him, which originally was supposed to, you know, and I don't know how it works. Now I've got two versions of 1522 from the DLS and the other one from K&L. And now I'm thinking to myself, how was that possible? I couldn't get him to work, and now there he is. And I'm like, that this isn't right. He's not supposed to work.
That's
And
that's very strange.
The
that's very
mystery of
baffling.
Train 12.
It
The
was.
unsolved mystery of the universe.
I know. But but there are some other engines I found that look like 1522, right? They were from the DLS, but they weren't from Europe, or whatever his name is. But they worked, right? Actually, hang on a second. Let me just before you go there, you continue with you'll see my drift in a sec. Hang on. This is going to take a while.
Okay.
And of course, I have my graphics set too high.
That's okay. While we wait for that, yes, for those of you who do not know, yes, I did review the Clinchfield Curse, and yes, it was a very creative. I took it a very creative step forward, as I thanks to my experience in collage and the fact that I combined green screening effects mixed in with specialized techniques and whatnot. I thought, why not? Have me be on the island of Sodor, being chased by the said 311 ghost until the end of the review.
I don't know how you did that, but that was still amazing. I was baffled.
Oh well, as Mr. Star once said in Victor Tanzik's series, magic. Well, in all honesty, I used Adobe After Effects combined with DaVinci Resolve and a Premiere to make it happen.
Well, speaking of Victor Tangs, that was another thing. It wasn't my idea to put him in, but I think it was Shine's idea to put him in. And if that hadn't happened, I don't think I wouldn't have had that much popularity from the audiences, and they were going nuts that they heard his voice. And since then, I thought he'd be perfect for future projects. So I thought, I hopefully one day it will happen.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's voiced in my series. He's voiced in Thomas 1/223 series. He's voiced in a bunch of series.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go, lads. Here are the engines that I'm using for the original. This is the original when they are together. I've not given them any names yet, but these were the engines I've selected. But then again, it is quite hard, except I know these 4 engines are definitely in it. But I've been trying to think of what to use. Anyways, as I was trying to say earlier, okay, where are you?
There's a lot of stuff we got to go through. So.
Okay,
there's 1522's tender from the DLS, right?
Okay.
That's from Europe to whatever his name is, and there's the one over there that's the same one but doesn't pop up. But watch this. If I can just find where he is, because he was there at one point.
He's probably still listed the same way he was.
No, he is. I've just got to find him. Just got to find him. I know he's in there. Oh, there he is. And look at that. And there it is.
Huh.
The exact same one from the DLS, except someone's... I don't know how that happened. And now that's the original of who he is.
Oh my goodness. The original identity of 311.
Not really. That's actually Frank from San Juan, but it's actually 1522 who was supposed to be in the film, but we didn't have anything for him.
Oh, yeah.
The unaccounted engine.
Yeah, the other one that you're referring to, okay, was this engine here. There we go. Was this one here. There we go. This is the original version of what 311 would have looked like.
Yes.
But she was number 1513.
Yes.
That was who she originally started off as. Plus a Frisco locomotive. But if you remember in the flashbacks, oh, come on. She ended up becoming, we were supposed to keep her that way at the time, but we thought, how did she become, the model that we see her now? So I felt that was necessary, and there she is. Here she is as she is now. See?
There's her innocent side, yes.
That's how she was after being sold to work on the CSW.
Yeah.
Like she was cut down in size, but yeah, now you guys know the two identities of who she is. But here's the thing here that I decided to do for 1522, because I had this idea of like, because you know, the real engine has 5 other surviving sisters or siblings, we like to say. And I found these engines from the DLS, and they look like you know, the same model that 311 looked like, except I found this one here.
Okay.
Number 813, who has a very unusual, I think he's the one who's got 311's actual whistle. And then there is this one here. 2 versions. And here's this one, who has the exact deeper tone that I would have wanted to give 311. Number 4557. Right? He's from the DLS as well. He's from the DLS.
Well, that's good.
And then, shockingly enough, I found this engine pops up I've networked as well. See?
Oh yeah, I see.
Western engine number 175, and these 3 combined, you know, these 3 engines I thought wouldn't work. They weren't from European, they were from the DLS, and these engines worked, right? And I'm shocked. I thought they wouldn't go. So I'm thinking, how come, you know, European version won't work? I know their tenders will pop up, but it turns out it's called 1522 sound something, and it's an MB file independently, and it never completes itself. So I've got to find a way to try and tweak that out in order to make the others work. If I send, I don't know, maybe one of 311s over, I don't know how it works, but that's what I'm hoping you, Nick, can give me a helping hand with.
Yeah, we'll figure it out eventually.
Because I was trying to make, you know, who would the 7 sisters of 1522 be, whereas 311 is supposed to be the fictional 7th sister, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Well, here's something, Brandon, you should start working towards.
Okay.
Take a good look.
Yes, the dependencies.
No, that's the entire iOS completed.
Mm-hmm.
With the missing areas included. And I actually have an engine sitting down at the quarry.
Okay.
Funny thing is, though, there's only one spot that isn't in on this layout, though. The only spot that isn't included is Alstead.
Alstead Road?
No, Alstead itself isn't included on this.
Oh, yeah, the extension from the Scarlet Railway.
Yeah, the castle.
Technically,
enough,
Whoop, give me a second. Gotta let this load up.
Oh, not too bad. Like I said, Brandon, I didn't really mean to bring it up, but like I saw your thing with Fletcher, and I've been meaning to get this off my chest. I mean, if he wants to cut ties with me, then that's the worstest choice he's ever done. But if only he could have seen, you know, that I'm not this person with a bad attitude or anything.
I understand. Look, I understand. The thing is, that live stream was mostly about my personal situation with that certain someone who was trying to take me away from my girlfriend, who I have.
Yeah, a former ex that I know of, who I don't.
Yeah, I understand, man. It's just that.
No, dude, she's literally an apple short of a. She's literally an apple short of a bushel.
It's just that, you know, when I was mentioned, I thought, oh, intriguing. And I thought, okay, he's going to bring out something here. And I thought, you know.
Like, trust me, like, the reason why Fletcher was in there was because for my sake and not for involving you at all, Glenn. Trust me. Like,
it's all right. It's okay. Even though he said he wasn't ready to explain his terms. But the fact of the matter is, he was, you know, I know he's going to see this, and I think Shine and everybody else will hear this, but if only they could listen just for a second, stop letting their emotions get the better of them, they could see that I actually have been a reformed individual and that I'm not a very horrible, bad person, even though I can get over edgy at times and may not listen, but that's because I'm in the moment. It's just that, you know, they tell me to move on, they're the ones who haven't in a way. They haven't changed. Well, actually, no, they have changed. It's me who's changed for the good because here I am in a good way and happy thing. It just frustrates me to think they've treated me this way and exposed all the wrong things that I used to be. It's not there anymore. That's not the Kane Fan 701 or Kane Taker Fan 701 you see today. That was back then still in my youth terms. If they could just come to terms with the mistakes they've now made and unblock me and end up apologizing, I will easily forgive them because I know I did wrong. Yes, I admit. It's just that, it's not easy to move on just like that, and it will take time. But the fact is, they want, everybody's been telling me, to prove that you have changed. Well, Nick Boga over here surely knows the truth. I've changed. I can tell. I'm pretty sure you believe that I've changed for the good because
I've seen you come back from basically the depths of hell.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
so have I.
I feel like it's there. I feel like it's them who are now stuck in the grips of hell, unless they've got the walls of not wanting to listen around them, or the fact is that they've been toxicated. No, wait. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. That was the wrong choice of words to use. Unless they've been,
arrogant.
well, not arrogant. Unless they've been suckered in. There we go. Unless they've been suckered into the thing of social media nowadays, because nowadays, anyone will believe anything nowadays, and not seeing the actual news that you see on TV or hear from it. But here I am being true in the flesh that it was wrong with me, and I am very, very sorry about everything. But it's not like I'm not going to say, oh, we're going to forgive you, and then you're going to screw up again. I'm not going to. I'll give it as time as I need to until I'm ready to be reaccepted again. And look, it's just it just was so.
Things are.
I know.
I know, but
yeah. It just really, really is frustrating to think that after everything that I'd gone through, I'm hoping that they will understand eventually, and hopefully. If any of them want to come on this live search ring and eventually, if they want to talk a little smack to me, if they want to get a little aggressive, let it come out and I'll absorb it. But the fact of the matter is, this is a new improved Kane Fan 701. And I'm happy that I'm doing it because I am glad that this is happening. I'm not saying I'm smiling about it. It's just that because as of late, what you guys haven't seen is a lifesaver for me. Because you know why? Because, well, let's just say in 10 days' time, on March the 29th, apparently my favorite Disney character, Dumbo, returns to the big screen. The film that's been directed by Tim Burton.
Yes, I saw the trailer. It looks pretty impressive. I can't wait to see it.
Be there. I dare you to be there on March 29th because I'm going to be there. Because I've waited 5 years and 9. This has been 5 years and 9 months since it was announced in 2014. And speaking of which, I've been meaning to tell you this, but did you guys see my movie review on Dumbo on my DeviantArt journal?
I saw a bit of it. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, did you read like certain bits, especially when I spoke about Michael Keaton being the bad guy, even though I don't know what type of a bad guy he's going to be in, so I don't even know how the hell he's going to be in. But I do know for
I saw that bit of it. Yeah, it looks pretty interesting. Michael Keaton as the antagonist, but we'll see what happens.
Well, there's another movie where he actually plays somebody like that, very similar.
Yeah, we know he played it in Spider-Man once, but at the time I didn't know that.
No, there was another movie Michael Keaton was also listed as the so-called antagonist.
Beetlejuice?
Bingo.
I should have guessed. I heard about that, but I didn't know he was the bad guy in that one.
Our favorite
damn.
Our favorite ghostly goblin.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was Keaton because it doesn't even look. Jesus Christ.
I know. Now, here's the funny thing. There's been word floating around about the sequel. People were talking about it, and Keaton grabbed a word of it, and guess what? People kept saying the name Beetlejuice too. Guess what happened? A film started going into production. Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian. It's in production.
Nice. So he's playing one of his favorite roles again.
So he's coming back again as the ghost with the most.
Yes.
The guys that made Guys Light. The guys that the guy that everyone likes, even though he's a bad guy, they all love him.
Yeah.
He's too fun to hate.
Exactly. But there also is a whole bunch of other stuff going on, which a lot of people haven't figured out yet. Like, There is been a bunch of delays because I'm still dealing with model problems, but I do have some new models, and I might drop a preview of the newest model of the newest engine, who will be coming to Sodor to visit. Might not become resident yet, though. Not sure yet.
Okay.
Let's just say there's a certain engine from another series that gave me some motivation to build. I went through it for some time, I found it, and here's the funny thing, the class didn't exist for trains. So I took it and put it together.
All right.
So, and the funny thing is, this engine's a tender engine, but it's a lightweight tender engine, so it can go on branch lines.
Ah, a lightweight, like Edward and James and Dalton Douglas.
Basically, the heaviest engine the branch lines can hold is Emily. This engine is lighter than Emily, but heavier than Edward and James.
Okay, still heavy, but still a light engine. I get you.
And it's funny, because of it being an unusual class, people have kind of been asking the question, well, what kind of engine is it? Well, you wouldn't know the reference unless you saw the reference.
Let me guess. It's Carlos.
No, it's a non-Thomas character.
Oh, right. You said yes. Yes, it's a non-Thomas.
Is it an Atlantic Sea class?
No, it's not even. It's not even an Atlantic class. This is a class of an engine you don't see much of. The only clue I'm going to give you is it's from the Great Western Railway.
Oh, I see. So it wasn't a pre-LNER.
Is it from Tidfield Thunderbolt?
No.
Okay, because there was
my eyes up there, lads.
Oliver's class was in that movie.
I know, but this engine was from the Great Western Railway. That's where it was mainly used.
All right.
It was used on the main line, this engine in particular.
Okay.
The thing is, though, there is some of them that did survive into preservation, surprisingly. I think there's like 8 or 9 of those locomotives that survived into preservation, surprisingly. And the one that I built the reference off of is an actual survivor. The actual number survived.
I think I have seen that engine who you're referring to, yeah. I think I did, but I might not be sure unless this triggers my memory.
Well, let's just say this. One engine of an unusual class with a very bad attitude.
Oh. Not as bad as Duncan?
On a bad day.
Oh. He didn't have a bad attitude as Duncan, did he?
Now, take James's bad move and apply by, I don't know, 50,000.
Okay.
You just got someone who's a female with a really, really, really bad attitude.
Oh, boy.
Well, is it a Chuggington character?
No.
Okay, but you said it's outside of Thomas.
It is outside of Thomas, but it's a character people wouldn't know the reference of. That's the thing.
Oh, okay.
This character, though, because of the class being so rare, now think, what tender engine is light enough to go on a branch line, but can run on the main line?
That's a good question.
Hogwarts Express?
Think of the class, Brandon. Not the engine. The class type it is.
Okay.
Ooh.
I can give you a huge clue, though. I can give you the wheel codes to it, but that's it.
Okay.
It's a mixed traffic, isn't it?
It is a mixed traffic engine, yes. It's a 464 engine, but the engine's specialized for passenger work.
Is it a J15 class?
No, it's not a J class.
Okay, because the mixed traffic engines, J15s, they were lightweight.
I know, but this is a tender engine that's a little more in the middle between Emily, James, and Edward. This engine's smack dab in the middle class-wise between them weight-wise.
Okay.
Okie dokie then.
So there's your guide. Think how much them 3 engines weigh? Emily being the heaviest, James and Edward being equal. This engine's designed to fit right smack in the middle, weight-wise.
Okay.
It's a branch line engine, but it was used on the main line on the Great Western Railway.
Okay, so it was a Great Western locomotive.
And it was a high-speed engine, too.
Not like a semi-express locomotive.
It was considered an express engine.
But not like express turn wise, like the Flying Scotsman or Gordon, for instance, like for heavy high speeding. No,
It's not an A class.
not that type of express type. But it's
not
like
a
on a.
class, no.
But it was an express locomotive, but not like for high speed or anything. It's like a semi version. I get what you mean now.
It was meant for high speeds. This engine can do 98 miles an hour.
Oh,
According to the actual data found surrounding it.
okay.
Okay. Let me think. I mean, like, no way it's the city of Turo, because that would be crazy.
No, it's not.
No.
Up to 100.
Oh, is it a prairie tank?
No.
Okay.
It's an unusual engine. I'll leave it at that. It is a tender engine, so tank engine's out.
Oh, yes, right. Oh. Is it a... Let's see. Is it a... let's see. Okay, let's see. Is it a Great Western 90 class?
It is a Great Western class.
We're getting there.
But that's the only clue I can give you.
It wasn't like the not the Castle class or the Halls or the
You just said it. Think of the last class you just said, Glenn.
Castle class.
Castle class. Okay,
No.
then so it was a Castle
Try again.
class. Is it what
You just
we have a bunch of castle classes, yeah. We have a bunch of castle classes.
Castle class.
Which one?
Think you said 2 classes.
The Hall.
It's a Hall class.
Oh, Hall class.
Right. There's one I know who's the flagship in the Tyseley Birmingham Railway Yards in my hometown. Called Aston something Hall.
Well, here's the funny thing. Hall class engines could go on branch lines because of their weight, but they could also run on the main line as well.
Now
the funny thing is, this one engine, the actual running number on it is based on a preserved engine. Actual running number, which is 4953, the engine is actually a real survivor.
Okay.
It's just I've made a couple alterations to the name.
Guys, but Brandon, I'm not sure about this, but I don't like what I'm seeing here.
Wait, what's going on? Is it in the chat?
No. There's no. The only guys in the chat are you and me and Nick. I don't like what I'm seeing here on my DA thing here.
What? Oh no, what's it saying?
Well, I think it could be somebody. It's got an icon that looks like Thomas.
Is it someone that someone I know very well?
Well, it's got your name mentioned.
Okay.
Someone say, okay. Let me just look clever here because this screen's not good with high tech. And yep, I'll have a look. Someone called DA user Horst Hirschband 1995.
Oh no.
That if that's who I think it is.
That can't be her, can it? Because I thought it was somebody else.
It is her.
Damn. And all this time I thought it was somebody I thought had a likeness for Thomas. I didn't know it was her.
That's one of her new accounts.
God damn it. Well, he's talking. Well. God damn it.
Son of
God damn it. And I've just been fooled. Because one of my recent friends called RMS Olympic on DA blocked me for no reason. I had no idea that happened unless he believes or she believes everybody else about me being so cruel.
We're not going to mention the name that account belongs to. Happens to be someone who used to be close to me.
Yeah, well, the other guys who have told me used to say, what seems to be going on these days? This is somebody else who used to says, what seems to be going on these days? I just don't get why people decide to block others. I only block ones I start chatting with, but none on here. And they're saying Discord is a different story. And then
here's the problem with this user. Basically, she takes advantage of people And then she tries to make others feel sorry for her, and then she turns them against others and tries to tear them away from their friends, thinking, oh yeah, feel sorry for me because I have nobody in my life. So she tries to empty out everyone's community. And when that happens, people get pissed, and when people get pissed, guess what? That's when things start happening in the community that you don't expect. Basically, people cut ties with you. You don't want to screw with people. They're like, nope, you're too much of a pain in the ass. I don't want to deal with you. And then they most likely walk away. But this one person is so determined to get their way, they won't shut the hell up, and they'll just keep harassing people until they get what they want.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
He worked with this person for a while after what happened between this person and I.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I told you cut ties with her sooner, but you wouldn't listen, Brendan. She thought you were her boyfriend.
She shambles really because I'm single. I've been single for 2 years, and I'm in need of a lover. But someone who can't dominate me, because I need someone to be on the same level as me.
Trust me, if she got involved, Glenn, it would only be an accident waiting to happen. Literally, the chick is a train wreck. That's the easy way to put it.
Shambles really because I'm going to admit to this, but don't hate me. Because at the time, before Liam took hold of Caitlin, I actually did have a secret likeness towards her, you know.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Not that I said I did have a secret. Well, I'm saying something here that people are like, what the hell came from 701? Yeah, I'm not sick. I'm not a sick person as Caitlin thinks I am. I never stalked her on Facebook. Never did all this bad shit stuff or anything. But the fact of the matter is, you know, I liked her because she was, you know, cool in her voice acting. She could talk in multi-languages. She loves anime. And I thought, she's really, really nice. And that's what I liked about her. You know?
Well, there's always somebody out there who kind of makes you feel, you know.
Oh.
Always someone. Someone special.
That's what I mean. And I felt, I felt inspired.
I mean, there are some people out there which they advise you to stay away from. Which Brandon, me, Andrew, and all have had our run-in with somebody who doesn't.
Oh, how is Andrew anyway? I haven't spoken to him for months. How is he doing?
He's doing good. He's doing very well.
He's been busy.
Very busy with his job and other things, but he's been doing great.
Oh yeah, it was Andrew who got me to do my first stream, and then that's how you and I would meet at long last, Brandon. Now I remember. Yes, now I remember how it happened.
Yes, that was true.
I thought there was another Andrew I know. You know, I must have been wrong. I thought that was Mike the Red Engine, or his name was.
Oh, Chase? Oh, no, he's everywhere. I mean, he and Nicholas and the others, they've been doing their own thing, and I've just been.
A lot of the guys on that old one where Shine was in, and you know where you guys saw me when I was PO'd and I accidentally sent that thing behind David's back when I shouldn't have said the whole, you know, back then at the time, which I was wrong about, you know, everybody started getting intimidated. But there was another Dave on there who, not the other one, but the other David knew what I meant. He knew I didn't mean to, but there was there was two Davids. The other one who wasn't connected to us, but he understood, but he wasn't.
Oh,
he wasn't.
Oh, you mean Electro Gamer 96? Is that?
Yeah,
that his name's David. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he knew I wasn't.
David, I think you're talking about the one with the My Little Pony icon, would it?
Yeah, I think that was the one. Yeah,
that's the one I played TF2 with. He's actually.
It wasn't him.
Funny thing is, if Machine Gun and go after him in TF2, he gets pissed.
Well, tell me about that. I heard stories about that.
It's true, because we've done streams with Andrew before playing TF2, and I'll just come around the corner with the machine gun, just start drilling people, and all of a sudden, what the fuck? He'll start cursing the camera, and it's like, dude, really, it's just a game.
Yeah, good God, just because you didn't get other guys to join in that one. I have to admit, this live call thing's been amazing. I didn't know we were going to do it today, Brandon, but this was very nice, and I'm glad that you're here as well, Nick. So I think you two guys really have become a good key factor in my further road to redeeming, for redemption. This is what I've been trying to have for the last 2 months, and since I turned 28, I tried to show it. But it's like, Shine Ortez and Ariel and the other guys do not believe me. and they kicked me out of the whole group thing for no reason, you know. And it's obvious that if anybody's got my OC character, you know, it's obvious that I won't get it from Liam because he's obviously ditched me. You know, and because I was hoping to have my character, you know, so I could keep it unless Chuck's got a copy or Nicholas has got one. But
I could, if I end up getting a reference of it, I'd probably rough sketch the thing out and do it. I mean, I've been known to work miracles before.
Oh, no, the other Nick's got me anyway. He's got better versions of me now. But Chuck's got my official version of who I was. But I'm thinking of doing other bits and bobs. But in any cases, like I said, Brian, it was really, really nice. And I've tried, you know, not to bring it up too much because it's like, well, hurting me inside more to bring it out because I don't want the audiences out there to think, oh, you're just acting, Glenn. You're not being serious. You're just trying to sugarcoat. You're talking your random bit. This is you being all dramatic. Well, I'm not. This is the serious, real me coming out. This is the real me, not the dark and cold. Yeah, not the dark and cold and horrid person that you saw that I showed to Nick and everybody else.
Oh,
a lot of my, I actually did show a lot of the fans on Facebook and as well as on, you know, Skype about it, and they were like in disbelief, but they couldn't believe what this thing, you know, they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Some were like baffled as hell, and the good thing is that most of them who have seen it have either decided to stay out of it or stay neutral. And I think being neutral is the best choice of action. Even Liz found out. Even Liz found out. You know, even Liz found out about it. But we've been talking a few times, but she still considers me a friend, and she hasn't cut ties with me with anything. So she's neutral with me. I've got Greyhounds Productions, and he was disgusted by the type of a man I had been. But the thing was, he didn't hold any beef towards me. He was talking nicely and kindly.
Oh, he was just mad at how it unfolded.
He didn't know. He didn't. He was He didn't like the way he wasn't there when this all happened, but he wasn't happy with the man I was. But the thing is, he thinks that was what I was now. What he didn't know is that was who I was way back then. There's a difference between, oh, I'm this person, but that was
then and now.
This was before I even knew any of you guys at the time. You know, back when we were like younger and our minds could be let loose, and at the time, if you think about it, back in them days were a lot of fun, and there was no authority on you. You could go full board. Whereas nowadays, especially what we see today, it's like you have to follow a certain guideline and don't, you know, start anything. Whereas other people are just looking for arguments. And, you know, here's one thing I need to get off my chest, Brandon.
Okay.
One of the things is that, you know, because I can be a bit difficult to speak with, when I start to open my mouth, there are times where I just cannot stop talking. Because throughout most of my life, I had been a very silent, neutral character and could speak properly until I learned how to do social talking elsewhere. And the old saying is there's a freedom of speech, which I think a lot of people think is wrong, but whatever happened to that? But nowadays I'm not scared or afraid to speak my opinions nowadays, where I used to keep it bottled in. Yeah, now I just let them out, you know, because I can only keep things bottled in for so long that I end up like, you know, it's like tormenting me. So I have to let it out before it makes me, you know, break a sweat. That's right. Yeah, that's right, Nick.
Yeah, I've seen that one happen. Some people just bottle up their emotions and that for so long. Eventually, it's like dropping a match on a fuse. Eventually, that fuse is going to hit whatever it goes to. And if it goes to firecracker, it's going to leave a big boom.
Yeah, just like
when that
like
boom
that.
goes off, it blows a hole on something. And it's never pretty.
And that's it. Well, I have a very, very long fuse, but with others who are around me have shorter ones. And people say I don't listen. Maybe I can't. Maybe so, because I'm in the moment trying to get my point across. But I never reach an actual conclusion or talk much sense. But I can't help that sometimes. It's a problem with me being the way I am. But the thing is with me is that, hang on. One of the things I keep thinking is that because I'm very reluctant at times to have a conversation with other people. Because when I used to be on Skype, I used to type right, you know, and then I would wait my turn for as long as I could until I felt like, okay, now it's my turn. Or people will think, where are you, Glenn? But I'm just like I hear at times I've been sitting back, waiting, and then when it's my turn. That's what I've been trying to do. You know, it's obvious because if they could get me, if Shine and Ortez and maybe if everybody else could come up here, if they ever wanted to, despite you'd see me here, like, get me off, you know, or whatever the hell. If they could just see, if they weren't here, for example, right, they could see the evidence of
You've changed.
that I have changed, and we'll go for the.
God dang, someone's got a high steam pressure again.
Oh no!
What the hell?
One of my engines has got really high steam pressure again.
Oh,
yeah.
That ain't good.
I don't know who it's on though. That's the problem.
okay.
You better drop the
new engine.
You better drop that pressure, otherwise its steam ball is going to explode. It's
that's
just
how
that.
No, that's how you steam a ham.
Well,
That's giving me a bad image.
You think I should show who I have sitting? I've been
Good
playing
question.
with a little bit.
Don't.
So just give me a second.
Yes, Glenn, what's your question?
Yeah, I was just going to say, what do you think? Because I think Brendan was. I think Nick was asking you, not me. Oh, it's Mavis.
Quarry, but there's another engine in the quarry.
Oh, that's Kate the Quarry Diesel.
Kate the Quarry engine. She's my quarry tramp. I have her and Mavis here, but there's someone else here on the quarry too.
And that would be
Toby?
No, ahead of this long line of trucks is a new engine.
Okay, so but where is Toby? Did he?
Toby is actually at Knapford.
Okay, so Toby's pulling the express at Knapford. Okay.
No, he's at a special job with Sir Topham Hatt. So. Hat told him,
God,
I got
let's forget about that. The better.
An old truck.
I'll never forget that episode where he pulled the express.
Oh, that's who it is. So that's the engine.
Oh, so that's the engine.
And she's got Peter's whistle.
No, I've modified the whistle a little bit, but it's an engine a lot of people don't know who it is.
Okay.
Is that the same?
The reason I'm keeping far away is so no one sees the alteration to the nameplate.
I guess, yeah.
But there's the running number clue.
4953.
4953.
This whole class actually did survive. It's actually in preservation.
I don't think I recall seeing number 4953. Not to my knowledge.
It's an interesting engine. It's a very interesting class. I mean, it's a very interesting engine. I mean, let's see. Isle of something.
Built for branch line use, but also for mainline use.
Okay.
Kind of hilarious because you would never see me if I was to use train thing. I know because we all know Train Victor Tangs uses engines to go on other parts. Like we've seen him use Gordon and Henry and the other guys go up on the Arsdale branch, for instance, you know, on Duck's branch line, which was quite clever. But you know, that's basically not built for bigger engines, but that's just him making a Thomas/Tug reference, which is quite cool. But I would stick to the laws of actual train weighting in some areas. You know, the branch line is meant for.
Here's the funny thing: this engine can go up the branch line because of its weight.
Yeah, I can tell.
Which is the nice thing.
Okay.
But what's the downside?
The one downside is this engine's also built for high speed, so it can run on the main line or the branch, either or.
Sweet.
The only thing is, a lot of people aren't too familiar with the Hall classes.
Okay.
That's what makes it so funny. And because of the way I set this engine up, people are kind of unsure who it is. Well, it's kind of a giveaway if you know the reference, but 4953 was actually a Hall class engine that was preserved.
Okay, Brandon, I see you've... Oh, is it? I see, Brandon, you sent me a media file.
Yes, I sent you, because my friend Roger was asking if you could... This is a character that he made in Trains, or, well, not Trains, but my friend Nicholas Montanito made in Trains, but Roger made this character, that you could possibly use in your future stories.
Charleston, the evil tank engine. Now, I do think I've heard that name somewhere, but I do not recall.
He
He
I don't recall seeing him.
the last time you saw Charleston was in one of my parody videos I did. Basically, he's an evil yellow. He's an E2 class like Thomas, but he's painted yellow and has the number 105.
Okay.
How's this for an interior?
Ooh.
Anyone want to drive?
Oh,
Nice interior section. That's what most of the interior cabs I have that look like that.
It's a big steam interior that I put into this engine.
It was kind of,
that car from scratch.
it's kind of funny because I was on the Harlan Valley Logging Railroad 04 route at the time. I wasn't going to lie because since none of the Sodor routes could work with the tracks, I felt like I should do a bit of a Miss Ivor and Blossom spin take, and I thought, why don't I just use that for my version of Sodor? And I thought, why don't Thomas and the Angels move over to an American base for my own version of Sodor as an American/type style? And I thought that would be quite intriguing. You know, and then I thought, then they can live with their American counterparts. You know? Because that's what I had in my mind at the time as a funny spin-off. You know, just to try and test out my, see what I could do. And that's how I learned how to do the driving. And at one time, I actually had the RWS Henry, right? I made my own Flying Kipper concept, and he went down the exact same mountain that 311 did, and he went all the way down at 29 miles an hour because the speed limit is up to 30, and he went all the way down with no trouble. And I thought that was so cool. And then I used the 2012 Henry for the bottom route version, you know, to pull an express around, and he performed like magic. And it was that was really awesome.
If you're wondering who this engine is, you're not going to find out until it gets down to Farquhar.
okay.
Okay. Intriguing.
Yeah, so basically, this is Charleston. He is right behind Alfred and right in front of Timothy in this video I made last October.
Oh my god, it's the constable. You're a mega danger to the public. Y'all need to respect my authority. Sorry, chap, but you're not.
Say something a lot worse.
Sorry, mate, but you're not Constable Chap.
Oh yes, from Thomas 123 series, yes.
Yeah, that's another guy I voiced who and I'm not gonna lie, but I actually put him in my Brandon, here's a clever trick for you. If you want to know my Thomas and Batman fanfic I was doing at the time, I've actually put Constable Chap in there.
Okay.
As a joke, you know, because he's the lead policeman, but he's not, you know, it's very clever. I decided to put that in for a tribute to Thomas 123, and after all, I voiced him, and I thought that would make a nice trick.
Oh, yes. I mean, his series is ending soon.
I know. Shame I won't be there to voice to end it because I haven't got nothing to voice with.
Yeah.
I would love to have done. But anyways.
This engine,
one thing
probably took me the longest to carve, though, time-wise.
And is it me or am I hearing music playing?
I do hear music playing from this mystery engine.
Yes, he's playing the Viaduct theme song. And why would you do that, Nick?
Well, this engine, there's no actual theme for it right now.
Oh, I see. From season 3.
Now, this engine, a lot of people haven't really been able to put the connection together who it is. And I'm not going fast right now.
I can tell you're not. There's just one thing about the screen on your trains there, Nick, because you've seen how mine is, and mine just goes all the way and it's cut off.
I don't have my game set on full screen.
Well, when I had mine on... Oh, I've tried to find my screen thinking it wouldn't work.
It's all in the resolution. You have to go to the options and adjust it. Mine can go up really high for full screen, but then it takes long to load. Window mode, for some reason, loads faster. So
Hang on, is it all right with the F? Oh, here we are, the infamous scene where Mavis got stuck.
Oh yes, the farm lane.
yep.
Whereas in season 3 in the TVS, it looks a lot more steeper. Here, it looks just more like a normal drop zone.
No, it's actually the right steepness and everything. This was all done by SI3D.
Oh yeah, it just Mavis just stopped in the wrong place and she got stuck in the winter. So
The last time I saw this is where when Rosie came down in NWO 971, which I thought was quite nice.
oh yes, I know he's he's premiering an audio attachment of Percy Takes the Plunge coming up soon.
Yeah, I saw that, and he's put like a reference timer to know when it comes up.
Oh
If
yes.
you're wondering, yes, I did modify Farquhar a bit.
Yeah, I can tell you did. That's
Here
the
we go.
exact same shot.
I'm sorry, I don't speak yawn.
Sorry, it's my jaw. Ow. Got a very funny jaw. Just gonna say that's similar to what the Farquhar got because mine's a hybrid.
Well, this one was actually the original iOS one, but I made some changes to the yard.
I see.
There's Farquhar Station.
It definitely looks that definitely looks like season 1 there.
Oh yes. It's a shame that no one else has gotten the permissions of that angle aside from Thomas.
Oh, plenty of people can get that angle very easily. But
Oh
this
yeah, I'm
is
just talking about the
a lot
TV
of people
series.
probably curious, who is it and why did I build it? Well, this engine was actually inspired by another series, surprisingly.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay. Was it let me guess, was it the Iron Horseman Chronicle series?
No, it wasn't actually.
Okay.
This is one engine I said I was going to build it for trains because there's no Hall class, but I am going to change the nameplates though on it before I choose to do the release. The numbers and everything will stay the same, but the nameplate, this is one for a tease for the audience.
Oh, okay.
And if I was to ask you, Nick, this is going to sound ridiculous. Is it male or female?
It's a female engine
Okay. So this is a female.
with a very, very bad attitude.
Oh, like she's hot-headed?
Extremely.
Okay.
So
that pastor's levitating.
Yeah, because of
jeez. Oh, speaking of platform pods, apparently, Nick, mine says this thing on some routes says something called prod passengers or whatever it is, and that doesn't always work.
Well,
which is a bit
usually
weird.
That just means the passenger thing isn't set up right. Like there's something in the passenger CUDA which isn't set up right. That's normally what it means.
I can only imagine what face pack we'll see on this locomotive when you give her a face pack. Oh, jeez, and how is she going to communicate?
Oh, she can
and
talk.
How will she communicate? Just like the Sound 1 locomotives.
I bet you guys are curious what I put on for the nameplate.
Let me guess. Her name.
She is a Hall class, so.
Her
actual number is part of her actual name. That's the funny thing.
Right.
So you go online and research the number. Okay.
She does need a crew, I can tell you that much, if that's possible.
Like she does need a fireman for certain.
Yeah, but
it's not like she wasn't biofuse or something.
Oh!
No, she ain't biofuse. It's just this engine could actually run herself, surprisingly.
Sorry, Brandon, I had to say it.
That's okay. It's okay. Don't worry, I just now you remind me. Yes.
Oh wait, that was my Batman voice.
Now the funny part is behind this engine, with the way I put it together, people probably keep asking, well, when are you gonna see the nameplate? That depends when I can get a good enough shot of her backed up. Now keep in mind this was the last project I did recently.
Okay.
We believe you.
Now look at the nameplate very carefully.
Oh no!
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, why, Nick?
I did it as a
Why?
joke. I wanted a Hall class, but this is a temporary cut. The Hall class will remain with the mesh and everything, but I am changing the nameplate.
She's definitely going to need a turntable switch over.
Not really. I'm putting her in the shed, so.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
speaking of the water columns there, mate, I don't know how it happened, but I had the non-active ones, and for some funny reason afterwards, the active ones kind of just fixed themselves. How on earth does that happen? I'll never know.
I don't know either. But what I do know is this is one engine who has a really bad attitude.
well, that's a name for the record books.
I'm pretty sure she'll definitely.
Yeah, but the actual name of the engine is Pitchford. That's the funny thing. I made the adjustment because I was watching a previous series that did the character, and I was thinking, oh, there's no Hall class for trains. So I figured, why not do a one-off style and build the engine for trains?
Of course, I mean,
Which basically means I transferred the engine over from that one-off series into trains.
wow.
Just kind of
I'm impressed. Don't get me wrong. I just realised. I just want to be very curious about this, Nick. What year did this engine arrive on, and in more specific, and what year is this like taking place in now that you've just shown us?
Well, this engine comes as a visitor to the island.
A visit. Oh, okay.
Basically, there's a huge gap in the workload, and this is in the this is in the modern zone after 2000 somewhere. So basically, one of the engines ends up having a problem. One of the bigger engines has to be taken in for service, and there's no one to cover for it. Problem is, one of the other railways says, well, this engine hasn't had much work. So the manager goes out, talks to the engine, like, yeah, apparently our railroad's kind of doing bad right now because, one, we don't have enough work to keep going right now, and you need work. I can't have you sitting here all day doing nothing other than being lazy. She looks at the manager like, what the hell are you talking about? Well, guess what? Manager's like, well, I struck up a deal with those guys over on Sodor. You're going over there to work for 3 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your mic acted a little funny there for a second there, Nick.
Basically, this engine ends up coming from another railway, comes to Sodor to help out, but instead of being her pain-in-the-ass self that she normally is, because she doesn't know anybody, she chooses to actually be very chilled out and very quiet. Now, you saw her when she was home around the other engines, she literally deserves her name. One of the tank engines actually calls her Miss Hall, surprisingly. And she plays jokes on the other engines. Her being a big engine, she can actually trick one of the other engines. She tricked a little 1400, I think it was, or a Ginty class engine that was trying to take a load. And the trucks were being a pain in the butt, teasing her. This engine came up out of nowhere with an idea. She's like, if you come with me, I'll take these trucks for you. And soon enough, this engine gets put on shunting duties while the fireman goes in to talk to the signalman. The driver is nowhere to be seen. Engine's on her own in the yard shunting. What does she do? Well, she collects a flatbed, puts the Ginty on it, and takes off. She ends up running the main line, but then a little disaster strikes.
Oh, no.
Her regulator jams open. And then it's a wild goose chase with the manager, the inspector, one of the older engines, to try and stop her.
That's not going to end too well.
Oh, trust me, it ends pretty funny. You watch the clip. It's funny.
It's best for me to wait until it's done.
Well, the thing is, the original clip is out there, the original reference. If you've seen the series, what was it? Bitch of the Yard, that's where the reference came from for the engine. So, yeah. The engine didn't exist in trains. I went and built it for trains. However, I'm going to alter the nameplates. This is just a teaser skit of what she looks like. Because I will the nameplate. So this was considered not a blooper joke, but a tribute to that engine.
All right.
In case you haven't realized this, like this is not going to look good, but here's something that I've got for you that I was thinking of showing, and if my thing doesn't start clogging up.
Okay.
The last engine I built.
Nice.
All right. But
And she might be an engine with an attitude at home when she comes to Sodor.
Yeah.
All new
Yeah.
leaf.
Miss Hall's an impressive engine. Just don't mess with her.
Yeah, she can be a nice engine, but she's got an attitude problem.
Yes.
You can catch her on a good day when she's in a good mood. She'll be nice to you.
All right.
But
You just got to get her on.
she's got a really rotten attitude.
Yeah, you just got to get her on her good side.
Yeah.
That's what I prefer in girls. Just keep them on the good side and don't bring out the badass in them.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, look, I've seen my girlfriend upset, and I kept my
can give you
distance.
one example, when a so-called ex of mine tried to split you two up.
Yes,
Mhm.
and let's just say I had to have my actual girlfriend involved. So,
If it's, I've got something here to share screen with you lads quickly, and I think Nick's seen this, but this is what I did, Brandon. You might not believe this, but this is what I did.
okay.
I can just
Oh, that reminds me. I think I have my upgrade model in here.
while you're doing that, before I do so, I need to learn how to get my screen thing shot done. Oh, it's
Not quite
Connor.
finished yet. I still got to finish the striping on it.
kind of where's my share screen thing come up?
Connor, I have been reworking, and I know how to do his stripes now.
Okay, Nick,
Sweet.
this is what check this out. This is what I've got. Gonna resist, but I had to show you this.
All right.
You're gonna like this, but this was an idea I have. This is gonna happen after my Batman and Thomas fanfic, and I did this for a laugh, but I'm not uploading it, but I did this as a test. And I like where it's gonna go.
All right.
And plus, Mainland Studios actually fixed his border model finally.
Nice. There you go, Brandon.
Oh, you sent it to me. Okay.
Yes.
Here's the one Mainland Studios promised he'd give everybody, and he actually fixed it.
Oh yeah,
Oh, that's
Porter.
good.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that they did make Nia recently.
Yeah, but there was problems with the valve gear.
Yes, I think didn't he go back and fix them?
As far as I'm aware, to my knowledge, Nia's valve gear problem was never fixed. I do have the
Oh.
model, but
Okay.
I still can't get Rosie's fixed model to work or to get Emily done or whatever the hell. Same thing with Rebecca.
well, Rebecca.
Again,
Funny thing is, I actually have her from Cog Railway. That's the funny thing.
that's the same one I try to get.
I mean,
I actually
I mean-
got it working.
Bertram is impressive in that from Cog Railway. Just it's such a great model.
Yeah, he actually has
Nice.
moving eyes. That's the funny part.
He is a very good. That was very impressive. I will admit.
I didn't expect that. So,
Tender
Honestly-
appears, but her main body doesn't.
oh, I know how the. Oh, that was the same problem with me with Rebecca. It's I believe with me it was the whistle and the cab. That's what it was. That was
All it is
missing.
with me. All the thing is with me is a GWR lamppost connection, or whatever it is, on mine.
Yeah, it's something stupid with some of those engines. Really stupid stuff.
But what was cool about that is like the same thing happened to Flying Scotsman when I downloaded his Great Race one. His two tenders popped up, but for some funny reason afterwards, don't know how, when I tried again afterwards or whatever the heck, his boiler worked. His main thing popped in and he worked. And I thought, then why the same couldn't be said for 3D Gordon?
Well, speaking of Gordon, as we know, there is one in development which hasn't been shown yet. Well, only the staff member. Well, the community knows there's a Gordon model in the works, but no one has seen pictures of the model. However, because of who's developing it, the main developer, who I happen to be friends with, hasn't decided to release it yet.
Because he's not ready for it yet?
The model's been in testing for over 2 years now.
Okay.
That's quite a long time then.
Yeah, and the funny
you
thing
think-
is, it's a model you wouldn't expect, and it's from a maker you thought left the community.
Oh,
Hmm.
me?
No,
No, I wouldn't. I know I wouldn't leave it, but
no. Think of a model maker, okay, who's a legend in the Tom's community.
Walner Wester,
Try again. He's bigger than that.
Sean.
Sean
Bingo.
Productions. Nice.
Because I mean, the new Gordon I remember that was released was Soda Workshops. They updated their Gordon.
Yeah, but Sean's been working behind everyone like he always does, working in the shadows, late nights in the workshop, working on stuff. And something has come up that not everyone's been able to put together.
Guys, I'll be right back.
Okay.
After him
Oh,
doing
there.
all
That's the bit. See that bit there with Rebecca with that one ping popped up? That's the. I think what you're looking at right now. That's it. That's the fault layer there that you just clicked on. That's the one that I've got on
the
my end.
lamp problem.
Yeah, the lamp. That's the only thing I've got there that's preventing me. And the same thing happened with Mavis and Emily.
Well, Emily, I have a fixed version of, so. Let's see
Yeah,
what-
that's the thing with. Anyways, I'll be right back with you guys in a second. All right.
texture file thing missing.
Oh dear.
I'll be
Texture
right
file
back,
text
lads.
missing.
Right.
So, take a look here and see if I can fix it. So it's a texture file missing. Well, let's see what our problem is, shall we? Says
Yeah.
that's missing. So, if that is the case and that's missing, okay. Gonna have to open it the other way to look.
Yes. The other way is the best way.
Yep. Here's the problem right here. Take a look.
There's two lamps.
No. One is at night. One's the lamp, one's the light. Look what the lamp texture has in it. A dot texture file.
Right.
There's your problem.
Exactly.
So all you gotta do is open it up, do a file, save as, and unlock the lamp. Then get rid of the texture file. Then just recommit your asset. Yes.
Sure.
And once that's done, lamp turn yellow, and of course, once that's done, engine fixed.
Exactly.
And there's multiple engines that can mess with you. Now, as far as the other series goes that's been under construction, the engines of Kola, that one might take a while because a lot of engines have been getting massive upgrades.
Yes.
And surprisingly, Sodor's shunter actually just came home from the works not even 2 weeks ago.
Really, that's awesome.
Yeah, I know, but the funny part was, though, which a lot of people weren't expecting, was when she came home from the works, well, everyone on the branch line thought, oh, we're not going to see her. Well, guess what? She was seen at Elsbridge a couple of days ago, and the other engines literally lost their coal because of how beautiful she looked.
Oh dear.
Oh, talk about having the hots for her.
Thomas, Percy, and Toby all lost their coal when they saw her. Their jaws dropped.
Yeah, because
Oh, God.
it's all pretty clear that Gordon and Rebecca are perfect for each other.
Now, here's
I
the weird
think.
part. This one
Oh, God.
one shunter who was retired from station pilot up at Knapford, she now works up at the junction all the time, up at Elsbridge, as the shunter up there, sorting out everything. Well, one engine actually complimented her on her looks, and that was Lily, very surprisingly.
Ah, yes.
I love Lily.
But the surprise thing was, when the other engines learned that she just came home from the works, they were like, wait, you look that good and you just came home? Like, did you get an overhaul? She just looks over cute, like, maybe. But instead of teasing everybody, she just grabs her train and takes off. So before anyone can get an answer out of her, she's already out of the yards.
You know, if you know when you said Brandon saying that Gordon and Rebecca are good for each other, I think they're good as friends. But to me, I'm not sure why, but I always felt that Flying Scotsman and Rebecca would be perfect. Because yes, I saw the episode, by the way, once when they were introduced. I did kind of think, well, I think Scotsman's got the hots for her. I think.
Yeah, I think he got more. He was flabbergasted at the fact that Gordon and Rebecca were,
On the same line.
yes.
Well, if you think about it, the guy who designed it was OVS Bully. Apparently, he transferred from the LNER to Southern, so it's pretty obvious there would be something in there, I guess. But I never thought a Bullied Southern Pacific and an LNER A0 or an A3 like Sky would ever actually have the hots for one another. But I didn't expect that. But I always felt like if Rebecca could get on with anybody, I'm pretty sure she'll have a hot for one of the bigger engines, since Thomas keeps on nicking all the best ladies.
Not quite. This one engine, this one tank engine just came home from the works. She actually doesn't like Thomas.
Oh, so she doesn't like little whippy snappers as
No, she doesn't like him for one reason. Thomas teased her at first about her shape because she was very unusual.
Oh, I thought for a moment I thought you were referring to a pervert action like they do in the anime series. All the boys
Basically,
are.
Thomas
Jesus.
started saying she looks like an elephant.
Oh wow! Don't mention that, or she's gonna get Henry scared.
She told the Fat Controller. Thomas got in trouble the next day.
And he got his tender butt smacked. Or whiplashed.
Basically, he got put on freight work for a month.
Oh, so he didn't go down the mine again, did he?
No, it got pretty bad because something happened during that month, which changed his perspective about that engine.
Okay.
He ended up doing a job for freight work out on the main line, and he ended up coming off the rails.
Okay.
And there was no engine around that was available to rescue him.
That sucks.
The only engine available was the shunter at Ellsbridge, which is the one he didn't know came home, which was the engine he called an Elephant.
Okay.
So after that little rescue, Thomas apologized, and the Fat Controller saw everything and said, you know what? You either start showing this engine some respect, or you're never leaving the sheds again.
Oh.
God damn it. And I thought
he apologized. Now the two of them are friends.
That's good. I mean,
it's funny because it's the Controller's daughter that's running the railway.
Yes, Emily has.
Yeah,
indeed.
She won't put up with any slack from any of the engines.
As we saw in that one other, I think it was in that other series that bloke made his own Thomas series and has mishap running the railroad.
Not just one. No,
the other one.
There was a. All right.
There was the other YouTuber, the one who brought his own engines back together. The one who. Oh yeah, because there was one named Rebecca, the big red engine named Rebecca.
Well, anyway, one of the other. All right, here's a fascinating one. I told you too about the discovery I found with Thomas's down the mine thing, didn't I?
With
the faulty regulator, which caused his original accident.
Yes, I remember you telling me about that. Yeah, the fact that his
I was going through the internet, just bored out of my mind, scrolling through, and I came across a video. It's a Thomas Wonderful Life, and I was like, "Huh, okay, what's this about?" It was a
Wonderful Life.
Thomas.
Oh yes, I remember. Yes, a wonderful. Oh my God, let's not go into that, please.
On the Sodor.
That's basically a creepypasta, isn't it?
It's not a creepypasta. It's a what if Thomas had never gone to the island of Sodor.
Oh, not that one. Sorry, I thought that was something else.
And due to Thomas going to the island, a lot of stuff has happened.
Oh, yes. You said about the theory about...
If you've never seen think of the island Sodor as we know it now. Everything that's happened. Thomas got mixed up at a factory thing with an ammunitions factory at the start, which is what put him on Sodor in the first place.
Yeah, you spoke about this. I remember this. Someone did a fanfic on this on DeviantArt once.
What happened? The branch line, the Wellsworth and Sudbury branch line, the Brendan branch getting reopened, their engine getting a massive overhaul and being maintained, which would be Edward, for example, him staying around. That's one example. Gordon gets put in a museum. Henry stays on the main line. Things were kind of weird. It was a real weird tribute because it showed everything, but it explained the loophole of how Thomas's regulator problem popped in. Thomas had a loose regulator during the runaway. But
yeah,
no,
like this.
Yeah, we
this
all
was
know
after he
that.
gets-
Yeah,
This was after he gets like he had boiler ache and he was sent to the works.
Thomas didn't
Yeah,
have boiler
I
ache. He just
remember
wasn't
this.
feeling well at the start. We don't know why. When he was sent to the works, when he came home, his regulator was still faulty, and the workman didn't check it.
Yeah, like that's because
Yeah.
the crew had trouble putting it on. When the regulator was hard on, when in fact it was not. Like
Yeah. They
Yeah.
checked his brakes, but because Thomas was
That
sitting
left it very stiff.
to get him better, when they fixed him and he went home, guess what? His brakes
What?
started acting up, but guess what actually was causing it?
What
His
was
steam
causing it?
pressure was so high, it was pushing his regulator open, overriding his brakes.
Ah, so the regulator was that strong.
It was that problem. Thomas's steam pressure usually runs about anywhere between 120 and 160 pounds for an E2. That's about the boiler pressure numbers you're looking at. Thomas's boiler pressure was about 130 each time that something happened. Down
That's
the
pretty
most
high.
example, he threw his fireman off the footplate just by wiggling way back and down the mine.
yeah,
So,
because he
basically,
wanted to
that's
go back. He wanted
vibration.
to go past. He wanted to go past the hello sign.
He had no driver in his cab and just his fireman. His fireman went out to change the switch.
Yeah, because
And that's what must have caused it.
Thomas's brakes were on. His pressure came up. His old regulator edged open a little bit, which caused him to move.
So basically, Thomas can actually move himself.
Yeah, because of a faulty regulator. And then after the
Huh.
runaway incident happened, which was the big one, which led up to the following story, which was the one that was the icing on the cake. After 4 stories of Thomas having regulator problems, it didn't really surface. It finally surfaced. When Thomas comes to breakfast, when the cleaner showed up, the firelighter, guess what?
Yeah, he filled with his controls, and that was
No,
what he
here's
did.
what happened. The firelighter lit the fire like you would normally. The cleaner came in,
Yeah,
and Thomas's brakes were set hard on. Here's the thing, though.
he hit the
knocked
regulator.
the regulator by accident. Just a hair. And he didn't even know it.
That's why, mate. That's why he said
When
he'd filled with
he
his.
Thomas, his boiler's just warming up. He doesn't have enough pressure to move yet. Why do you think in a few seconds he goes from being half asleep to cheeky, and then he wants to go out and go scare the crap out of Percy and Toby?
Right.
Talk about a quick start.
Yeah. And now think. Thomas's brakes were hard on, and he just got pressure, and he was able to override his brakes.
yeah,
And then
it
look what
was-
happened.
Why
just
didn't you
built up
break?
steam.
You know, if we post this to Shine Ortez and Liam and Jerome and aka the German of Sodor, or anybody else in this conversation right now, if you said all this to them as well, Nick, I think they would all be,
Flabbergasted.
flabbergasted and amazed, because I'm not sure this is like, because
Well,
we're
here's
hearing things that we weren't
If
sure
you look
about.
at the way the series played out with the original stories, okay? There was 4 stories that happened before Thomas comes to breakfast. The runaway happened before Thomas comes to breakfast, which was the icing on the cake when Thomas had his regulator problem.
Yeah,
The day before it happened, his fireman was sick. Okay?
yeah.
And the relief fireman came to take his place.
Exactly.
Who
He
made
didn't know about the
and the
loose regulator
fireman?
before Thomas's stiff
Yeah.
brakes. He didn't know.
Yeah, the fireman didn't know what it was about. Maybe he was an inexperienced one, I guess.
Exactly. Now here's the thing. The day Thomas took off up the line, Thomas's fireman was at work that day. He fastened the coupling between him and the coaches.
And then he joined the rest of the crew at the platform waiting for Henry.
Driver, the conductor,
Yeah.
and we're all standing on the platform waiting for Henry.
Well,
When
they
Henry
should have been.
came to you, Thomas started wheeshing a little steam, and he started to feel steam blow into his cylinder. He started to move. You could hear his brakes squealing as he was pushing against them.
Yeah, because you could tell he was satisfied and happy, and then in the next shot he was like horrified.
Yeah,
well-
it's weird because if you look at the exact reference to the video,
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
you can actually see it. You can see it. You can hear it happen with Thomas, which is the scary part.
of course.
Yeah. Well, he tries to apply his brakes, but he couldn't do it. He couldn't even whistle a warning either. So what could
Yeah,
he
I
do?
know.
I know.
I actually have the episode up.
Now the funny thing is, speaking of the Thomas Comes to Breakfast, Glenn, last year I made a what could have been Thomas Comes to Breakfast, where Thomas stops outside the station and actually scares Percy and Toby.
Ah, nice.
As if they were armed.
I'm trying to find the original interpretation. Run away.
I don't get this. How come this has never been revealed before? Like,
Oh, this was hidden from a lot of people about the regulator. No one knew it was there until I found the discovery of it.
Yes.
I've learned to be extra careful.
yeah, well, his driver did have to be extra careful.
Fireman was ill.
This is where you learn. Thomas's fireman was sick.
That's right.
One day, okay?
But how did he get sick? I don't get that.
We don't know. He just, one day he didn't feel well.
He could have just been nauseous. Like,
Now look, here's the next day.
Or maybe food poison, I don't know.
Fireman had fastened the coupling
Now look,
There's-
there's the fireman hooking up the coaches.
Yeah, I know. We all know that bit, yeah.
and
Now,
joined the
watch.
driver and station master on the platform.
All three of them standing there. There's the fireman in the middle.
Yeah,
yeah,
he
they're
should have
looking
done,
away from Thomas.
Yeah,
the
they're
fireman
waiting
driver,
for him.
the driver and fireman shouldn't be doing that. That's the guard's thing. They should be in his cab. They broke the rule there. They should have had a
Yeah.
fine.
That's not
Well-
the point. Thomas had a faulty regulator.
I know they did, but
But
still,
the
the
fireman
screw
was
shouldn't be.
sick the day before, mind you. Remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he didn't show up for work. The day before
driver-
he knew about Thomas's brakes and his regulator problem. He forgot about it the day he was sick. The next day he
Right.
went back to work. Duh. Didn't dawn
Yeah.
on him.
Yes.
Yeah, the driver or the guard should have been in Thomas's cab.
Fireman had forgotten all about Thomas's handbrake.
Unless his handbrake was that small.
Now watch.
And now, he thought,
Now look, here comes Henry around the corner, minding his own
Yeah,
business.
slowly
With the express.
Thomas
Yep.
Or a local train.
and suddenly he felt
You hear the screeching?
Yeah,
Yes, I do
I
hear
hear
this.
it.
his wheels begin.
I remember this very well.
He tried to stop, but he couldn't.
That's Thomas's
Couldn't do
steam
that.
pressure coming up too high, overriding his brakes.
Of course. Oh, there's
Oh,
there's Spectre thanks to me.
Without his
I'm not gonna lie. This is one of my sceneries. I'm not gonna lie. Season 2 definitely were trying to show the what's. I've been trying to debate this with everybody else in the old team I was with. I mean, season 2, you can definitely see that we're trying to do the realism of dangers on the rails and with accidents, and also they were going a little dark with this. And I think this was one of them, especially with some of the shots they were doing and everything else. So. But then, and I'm not gonna lie, the runaway definitely was one of the things I kind of
Here's
wasn't too sure about.
here's
but
the
I
one that
knew-
spread all the light on the episode.
Oh,
this
Tentai,
one, eh?
yeah.
Yeah. This one
Oh
actually
yeah, I remember him.
enlightened everybody of what happened. But here's the
What do you
thing.
mean? What do you
People
mean by
didn't
the
pay
word
attention.
enlighten?
What happened was there was a lot of gaps in the story people didn't understand. Like, how was Thomas able to pull against his brakes if his brakes were set?
Like you said, his pressure overriding it.
Yeah, from a faulty regulator.
Huh.
Now, this has the what ifs. What if Thomas never came to the island of Sodor?
Ah,
This, for people who haven't seen this, I'd recommend watching this and it will fill the gaps in.
I actually
Okay.
have watched this. I have
I'll
watched
check it out.
this.
It's very good, but it shows you where the gaps were in the stories. Now think, Thomas was able to move without his driver fireman in the cab. Engines can't normally move on their own unless something's wrong, like a faulty part. Unless
Yeah,
the
like-
regulator gets touched. But think,
Exactly.
if the regulator
Regula-
is closed, which means the steam pressure's off and the brakes are on, you can't go anywhere.
Well,
But now a
no.
loose regulator will wiggle when it's
What
closed.
about there's another thing as well. If you had your reverser go forward or backwards, that's another thing.
Yeah, if the reverser set forward, okay, which it was
Yeah.
for Thomas to leave when he got coupled up before the fireman and driver took care of the coaches. Yeah, basically, Thomas's reverser was set to go forward, so he was all set. He just went and got a drink. That was it. That's why I chose him coming back out of the shot.
If you but if he had his reverser in neutral, he wouldn't have gone anywhere.
He would have. Very true. But Thomas's steam pressure was so high that day, which people weren't aware of, it all blew open. And it explains the regulator mishaps.
So
which was
perhaps it's some.
shielded by the television series, which people didn't know was there.
Well, if you think about it, then maybe Thomas will have to have a much smaller boiler, and that can help reduce his pressure.
Well, it wasn't so much his boiler that caused it. The problem was, because of his regulator being loose, Thomas's pressure was too much, forcing his regulator open.
Well, you know what I'm trying to get at.
Thomas today, he went to the works years ago, and he had a new regulator put in. His regulator's been tighter ever since, and he's never had that problem again.
Very true.
His original regulator that he was given when he was built is the one that caused the problem. And all the E2s had that same problem.
Hang on a second, Nick. Hang on a second, Nick. This could be another theory to why Timothy himself had these accidents.
Because of his regulator being jammed wide open going past the station?
Well, they did say, well, if you remember, people had said theorized maybe it was like malfunction controls, like maybe the regulator partly, and maybe faulty brakes or anything. But if you remember, Timothy is a prototype E2, not a full designed E2 like Thomas was. So he's bound to have more problems than he was.
Means there's going to be an error or two somewhere.
That's what I mean. Yes. But Timothy had a bunch of errors in there because he wasn't a very functional E2.
He wasn't a perfect E2. Thomas did have to go to the works 3 different times to have things checked out. First time he went in was for his brakes when he wasn't feeling well, when he was sick. At the start of the runaway. That was the first time he went in. He came home, his brakes were stiff. That's where the regulator trouble started, when he came home.
And then the third time?
Down the mine. That's where it began. But people didn't notice it.
Right. I mean, honestly, I think maybe from the spiritual standpoint, maybe part of it, maybe from the spiritual sense with Timothy, because remember, Timothy had an end goal in mind, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, but I don't think putting his brother down the mine was one of them. I don't think, unless it could be, unless I might I'm not too sure, but we're going live with this. But perhaps that could be a hidden factor that he may have done himself. And Thomas didn't know it was his own flesh and, well, I wouldn't say flesh and blood. It was his own steel and fire sibling doing it himself. What if, now here's a funny question. I don't think I should, why didn't I think of this the whole time when I was in the actual team before they disbanded? You know, what if Timothy had been the whole cause of the, you know, of it, the demonic spirit trying to, you know, well, not to consume. What if he was doing it to try and gain control of possession of his brother, to try and, you know, control him, to, you know, to bring out well, I wouldn't say the dark side of Thomas, but you get the idea.
The darker side of him.
Oh yeah. So you're
but,
trying to say that Timothy trying to take over Thomas so he could be like a on his dark side and all that.
Or maybe to bring out the side that Thomas had hidden that no one ever had, you know, because we all think he's a very nice and happy, cheerful little engine. But as we've seen on YouTube users, they've alwa't had their own Sodor dark years, and Thomas is never always friendly. So I'm kind of guessing perhaps maybe out of, you know, what if that could be the thing, you know, because if you remember in my 311 film, Timothy says to Word, he says, just remember, little brother, wherever you go, my shadow follows you. So, and no matter how many times, and I think Thomas may have been unknowing, that had no idea that you know, the spirit of his prototype brother, even if it's not the demon of him, who was trying to, like, you know, get him into doing things like going past the mine and then falling down the shaft and then going to the, you know,
going for breakfast and
then the runaway.
Well, so here's the thing. If you look at the story layout, okay, the way it happened was, I actually did the research on this, and it all fits together with all the pieces of the puzzle.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Where the trouble first began with the regulator. Because Thomas was able to move on his own without his driver in the cab.
So much for biofusion.
That was it. His fireman was out of the cab at the time. Thomas has no driver at the moment. He changed the voice, and the second the fireman went to jump back in the cab, Thomas moved, his frame shook because of the steam pressure, which threw his fire.
Natural. But that's natural for an engine to shake under steam pressure.
Yeah. So what happened? Thomas started moving under his own steam, slipped past the sign, landed in the mine.
At least he didn't blow up, though. At least it was a shallow mine shaft.
There was 3 different things that happened leading up to the runaway. That was the
Yeah.
first. The second one was better late than never. Thomas was having trouble with his brakes again. You could hear his brakes squealing a lot more when he tried to stop.
Mm.
Of course, because
That was the second time now. Now think, the third one was the runaway with his regulator acting up
That's
Which
when they
probably-
finally.
the line. And then
Yeah.
the last one, Thomas comes to breakfast. That was the icing on the cake, which proved the whole theory.
Hmm.
But now here's
And
the
then he
big
was-
mystery to it. Now picture this, and Brandon, you actually did this because I gave you the idea.
yes,
Now imagine if Thomas's regulator wasn't loose. Think about it. Now, really picture this.
yes.
Percy and Toby are dead asleep in the shed. Instead of Thomas whistling, here was the plan. Sneak out of the shed right in front of him and let off steam, scare the crap out of him.
Yes, that's what I did.
Now, basically, imagine. Why don't you just show the clip, Brandon? It makes it funnier.
Yes, I certainly shall. Just give me a sec, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna go to the video vault, and we're gonna find that video that we Nick and Glenn are talking about.
If Tom-
Yeah, we've had a yeah, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who have noticed, it started off with me trying to clear up some error problems, and now we've gone from one mega topic to another here and there, and now Nick's finally bringing out things that we never knew. I
There
think
was a lot of things
has the
shifted
right.
by the television series around characters we didn't know.
Well,
Tom's regulator problem was there, but we didn't know how it happened. We didn't know what the cause of it was. Through watching the
Yeah.
film, I actually found out about all of it, and there was a lot of events that took place due to Thomas's mix-up of him going to the island of Sodor.
oh, there it is.
Ah, Brandon found it.
There's-
Yes, indeed, I have.
Roll it.
Yeah, it's rolling.
Is it me or the other engine? Is it me or were Thomas and Percy and Toby in the wrong direction? Because
No,
I
they're in
thought,
the right direction. It's just their sheds are offset. Percy and Toby are still asleep. Thomas sneaks out.
yeah,
Now, basically, think about this for a minute. This is what would happen if his regulator was working correctly.
okay then. Soon found his mistake.
He whistles,
Or
all of a sudden, whoops.
they woke up. Okay, so this is what would have happened had he got away with it.
Yeah,
Of course.
he didn't have a regulator problem.
This is what I think many fans were expecting.
Yeah,
Yes, that's what back then people were hoping for.
that's what people anticipated. And look at Thomas. He's like,
Yeah.
Yes,
Or
indeed.
in this case, despite he did that, here's a funny joke for you. What if that had been the spirit of his innocent twin brother Timothy doing that and not him?
Brandon, if you ever redo that, just remember, you had the placement almost right. Thomas was in the right place, but Percy and Toby, you had them mixed up.
They were meant to be on the opposite ends.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I get it. Yes, because Toby was on Percy's left and Percy was on Toby's right.
Yeah,
That's right. That's when he spoke about him when he said, Dry says, I don't need him now. I'm going to have to admit, season 2 definitely had its edge, but and some
season 2
darker.
was good, but here's the thing. You do
It
know
was
one
really
episode
cool.
cut halfway through filming.
Mm-hmm.
And a
Yeah,
lot of
because
people kept asking what happened to the footage. Well, that's
Budget
something
problems?
a lot of people don't know. The original pilot for season 2, which was The Missing Coach,
Yeah.
yes.
that one
Twin Trouble?
technically was cut halfway through filming.
Mm-hmm. And Twin Trouble as well?
Well, Twin Trouble actually came in. That was the funny thing. That
yeah,
was
halfway.
Saga.
Yeah, halfway through when Dodd and Douglas got their numbers, but they didn't have any nameplates at the time.
Yes.
Yeah, but now here's the funny part. There is another part of the whole thing a lot of people didn't know. And prior to that episode of what happened with the missing coach that was supposed to happen, another episode filmed before that. And Brandon and I spotted this screwing around. We were watching Percy Takes the Plunge just for the hell of it. And remember the little discovery we found in the background moving around? The little black
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people thought it was Daisy or Diesel.
It actually was Devious Diesel.
I thought it was. I thought it was Toby at the time.
No.
But why?
Brandon and I did a little work, and I blew up the picture in art in my art program. It's Diesel.
So if I was to
Basically,
guess,
what happened was when Donovan Douglas arrived, this was after Percy takes the plunge. Diesel was in trouble for all the trouble he caused.
Yeah, for lying about Duck.
and then there's Duck after, and then there's Donald accidentally committing murder to a brake van, which obviously
Yeah.
deserved to be smashed into
Brandon Jr.
pieces because he was. Ah, Jesus.
Yes,
Pretty-
poor Dominic.
That wasn't his.
Video, Brandon.
Oh, sorry.
It's on mute. The truth
And it-
about the missing coach was what actually happened when Diesel went home. He tried to do something to cover up what he did.
So you're trying to tell me that he was the one who took the missing coach and tried to frame the disguised twin engines?
No, here's what happened. He took the coach to get back at the other engines for finding him out and ratting him out.
In other words, a revenge plot.
Yeah, he took the coach to the scrapyard so they could cut it up and get rid of it.
And it didn't. And did his plan kind of work?
Well, here's the thing. Guess what? The coach film was never finished. The footage was cut, the original footage to the episode. So what happened was the coach was taken to the scrapyard when Diesel was sent home for being a jerk. Diesel got sent home in disgrace, and lo and tow, right behind him on his way out of the harbor was the missing coach.
So that's what happened.
Yeah, the funny thing was, the next day, Thomas came by looking for his coach. That afternoon, for his afternoon train,
It weren't there.
no special coach. Why? Diesel took it the night before when he went back to the other railway.
Yeah, back to the other railway that was owned by the devious/dictated British Railways.
Yeah, and then on top of it, they were about to break the coach up for scrap.
I bet that was under Mr. Beeching's rule.
Holy moly, that wasn't pretty.
Yeah, Dr. Beechin.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I just
Um,
recently watched a new documentary about that where he cut up so much line that you have to use the road thing, and I've noticed that most of it was a bad idea. And there actually have been words that they're going to bring some of the railways back in to try and cut by so we don't need to use cars ever again at times here in Britain. So in a way, we're kind of like, kind of resurrecting a little bit for us. So I'm thinking so much for Dr. Beeching's modernization, which didn't work, and now we're suffering what he had done
You want to
back in
scare
the
us, watch
60s.
that film. The Thomas special I have up, the Sodor Chronicles, the Christmas special, Thomas Wonderful Life.
I'll check it out later on.
If you guys watch it, it will scare the pants off you because there's somebody in there you don't expect.
Okay.
Someone who was mentioned in Wild and Western series.
Oh, intriguing.
All right, here's a huge clue. Remember when Gordon had his accident?
In
Before-
Wild and Western series?
Remember who was temporarily in charge?
Yes, that guy.
Yeah.
Him.
Norman Spencer.
Norman Spencer, yes, and who's in
Yeah.
charge of the mail delivery now.
Yeah, that time
Yeah,
he's a good guy
But,
now.
if you look at this video, this will show the thing you didn't want to see. This
Okay,
is
I'll check it
the
out
dark
after.
of Thomas's life. It shows you how the mistake of Thomas getting mixed up coming to Sodor changed the island. It altered a
Oh,
lot
hang on.
in history.
Oh, here we go. Sorry, Brandon, I forgot to show you the image. I didn't click the return key. There you go.
Okay, I'll check it out. But yes, because of the said discovery, I thought of making an episode about the missing coach.
Yeah.
And it was weird because we were watching Percy Takes the Plunge, just screwing around. I'm like, hey, do you guys see that in the background?
Yeah, I remember seeing it a lot of times. I didn't know if it was Daisy or Toby or Diesel at the time because I was little, but now we know it is him.
Yeah.
It was Diesel, and that yellow light was the missing coach that was right behind him.
We couldn't see it right away because of the darkness, but if you looked, you could see the coach outline right behind him.
And to think that, in Night Shots in season 2 was scary enough. Jesus Christ.
Well, that was a mystery we uncovered. So
Well,
And
we were just
yeah,
watching
we've just done it live.
Diesel roll by and like, wait a minute, isn't that Diesel? And then we looked, yep, it's Diesel. And there he
You
is with
couldn't
that
see-
look on his face like, I'm going to do something.
Yeah, you couldn't see his face.
You could actually see half his face when he goes by from the shot, from the angle where it was, where Percy had his little
It's kind of hilarious because I thought at the time, did this take place before Diesel arrives? Because I thought, now looking back, I always thought it was like, okay, they're testing this new unknown model, so I couldn't tell it was a Diesel or not at the time
Right.
because the quality was so dark on the VHS video.
first, Len, to kind of fill you in. There was an event that happened before that, all at sea, okay?
Oh
Which
yeah,
is
season
when
3.
Percy working at the Key and Diesel showed up.
Oh yeah, season 3.
Yeah, now keep in mind here, Percy Takes the Plunge was in season 1 of Shining Time, originally. So
But it
this
wasn't.
takes place the first time after Diesel screws up. The whole thing with Duck.
So they
So
messed
think,
up with the
after Diesel
timeline.
got caught, okay,
Yeah,
so Toppinette said he sent him home. Well, guess what?
he came back again.
No, here's the thing. Percy Takes the Plunge was the sequel to that in a way because it showed Diesel leaving to head home.
No, I guess yeah.
But no one put the pieces together. You just see Diesel roll by with a devious smirk in the background. No idea.
Alright then. To get revenge.
No one could put the pieces together behind it, which made it very interesting. And I've blown the shot up just so you can actually see it.
I see him.
Brandon and I have seen it, and it was actually really funny.
It was pretty outstanding.
And speaking of images, by the way, Brandon, what do you think of the thing I sent you?
That's pretty cool. That's actually very neat.
That's actually my movie / I think that would be my movie adaptation of what happens after. And that's Batman when he's aged, and there's, it's a crossover combined. It's like a Batman v Superman / Shed 17 combination, and it's a lot better than the original.
Now I want to show you guys.
Batman does detective works in there, and of course it's a bit darker and it's a bit more of a, Batman being using Batman v Superman, and then you have Thomas who's trying to uncover what's going on, but in the engines, they get biofused, but they have the designs nicked because they get kidnapped.
Let me show you what you missed.
What did I? Okay, there it is. Yeah, that's the restored as it says there. But in the original HD variation, it was very, very dark. You couldn't see anything.
Look right there.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, I see him.
See
now I see him.
Behind him?
Yeah, I see him.
That's the coach.
Yeah.
Yep, that's him making his way back to the mainland with the coach.
Yeah,
I think I just saw him leave without it. Play that back.
Oh,
Play that back again, though, just one more time. I could just see him moving on his own, but I couldn't see the coach.
So
you have to look closely, see the coach outline. This is a restored version. Now look, here's Diesel blowing through the station back here.
I see him.
You see the shadow outline behind him?
Yeah, just behind. Oh, yeah, there's the missing coach. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, Diesel's like, oh, you guys are busy with Percy. No one's paying attention. I'm going to take this and run off.
Indeed.
When they brought floating cranes to rescue Percy.
I see the coach there, and then there's Diesel going off.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stiff.
So
then you would have think Thomas would have spotted him.
No one saw him. So Toppinette's over here overseeing Percy's rescue.
Yeah, I know, but Thomas is back there, so he's got a clear vision.
I think it was too. I think it was
paying attention. He was more concerned for Percy.
Yeah, because they were all concerned with Percy. They didn't. No one looked at Diesel. Like,
no, well, if you think in the VHS variation in there, I can just remember this looking much darker. This is a bit more brighter, but the original VHS version was a lot thicker.
This is the restored episode. That's why.
Yeah, a lot. And if you think about it, there's a lot of restored versions that expose a lot of errors and some funny reasons they were changed for no reason.
Are the brighter color ones, and they allow you to see details you can't see.
Which unfortunately is not a good thing.
Yeah.
Because that makes it, and then that breaks down the enjoyment of,
It doesn't break down the enjoyment. It makes it different.
To be honest, I'm not really into the restored variations. I like the originals where you don't see anything. We see less errors. Like in Ghost Train, Toby leaves the signal box at normal speed, but in the restored one, he leaves quite fast.
Yeah, because he tries to act all scared.
Oh, Jesus.
Now, here's the funny thing. When I got an idea. What are you guys doing after the live stream? Guys,
Yeah, I'm here, but
Brandon got lost somewhere.
no, Brandon's got his microphone off.
Yeah. Well,
So
anyway,
speak.
what I'm thinking is after the live stream's over, right?
Because we had a pretty damn good live stream here.
Yeah. Watch the missing video which I'm going to drop in the chat for both you guys. All three of us can just
Yeah.
hang out and watch it because I don't mind seeing it again.
Yes.
It actually enlightens a lot of people about the whole thing. And because of enlightening of the discovery of Thomas's faulty regulator, that opened up a lot more to it because people knew something was up, but no one put 2 and 2 together.
Hey Nick, while you're doing this as well, we've been talking about that for quite a while. Here's some screen caps I would like to show you here while I was, because we got, Dumbo coming up in 10 days' time.
Sure.
And for the remakes, I don't want to spoil, but this is my investigations that I've been uncovering for the last 8 months since the tease trailer was exposed. Here we go. You can see here's Dumbo as he is now in CGI.
Wow.
There he is. There's some great stuff I've uncovered. There's the tease poster at the time, and we didn't know what he looked like.
In cinemas soon.
Yep, and there's Dumbo as we first see him. And they actually are going to be, bringing out a lot of references. There's the actual theatrical poster. And I'm not actually sure who that is, but it's definitely the Ringmaster, but not the one that Dumbo works with. But they bring in some surprises, but they didn't know who this is. They brought in some great stuff. Dumbo's more than just CGI. He looks more real than any other props because they've actually had a man in a suit playing as him. And it worked. Left, right, ring. Hang on.
It is surprising, though, but it's weird what you can find when you do your research.
It is. And where's the other thing? Oh, yeah. Of course, they're going to do some other stuff. And if look at this. This is from the tease trailer. Look, you can just make him out. Look right there. It's Casey Jr.
Oh, didn't even. Actually, that doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like
it's him. Yep, it's him.
Damn, he had dragon wheels.
Well, guess what? He's not a 2-8. He's not a 240 in the as he was in the original movie because in real life he would have been a 440.
Yeah.
And the American 440 at the time dominated railroading for 50 years.
53 years to be exact.
Well, yes. And here's another shot of Casey Jr. out in the wilderness.
Ah, yes.
Yep, that's Casey Jr.
That it.
All right, so Brandon, what's the plan for after the live stream?
Plan is, well, let's see. What was I going to say? Oh, yes. So the plan is to make a minor update video in future episodes about textures and whatnot, like you mentioned. And then I'll probably gonna have to get to work shortly. So
you actually have to go to work today?
Yes. So, oh yes, Blaster has said something. Has said something in the chat.
Which would be.
Yeah. He says, "Wow, Nick in a live stream. What a rare occurrence. LOL."
It's surprising.
Very funny, Blaster. Nick has been in a few of my streams before, not just this one.
Yeah. But there is some discoveries out there that some people haven't seen.
Exactly. So, and there's still many that have yet to be discovered. But in that case, everyone, that is the end of this very beautiful live stream. Thanks to King Benson, also known as Glenn, and Nick Boja,
yeah,
for joining me once again. So until then, everyone, stay tuned for the update, and may the force be with you all. Take care, everyone. See you soon. Have a good day, and I shall catch you later. Bye bye.